Hello out there to anybody watching this evening, if there is anybody watching this evening. We will commence with dragons and also maybe dungeons momentarily. We are just waiting for our players to scamper into the screen on this little unorthodox rainy day sort of session we're having here to make up for last Friday. We will be ending the stream a little bit earlier than normal, just as we're starting it a little bit earlier than normal. But I promise you, we will hopefully have just enough fun, just as much fun, as we usually do. Uh, and to open up, our characters had some pretty freaky dreams last night that we're gonna get to hear about in a little bit here, as soon as they all pop into the channel. So I can't wait to share that with you all. Until then, just listen to the soothing, ominous music as rainy nicks and sighs trickle on in.
Hi, sorry I'm a little late.
Hey, Nix. It's okay. Everybody is a little bit late tonight, it seems.
Yeah, going home from my grandmother's house. We visited her, and we were getting home, and I was like, I have to post my homework. Don't forget to post homework.
Speaking of homework, did you read the thing that I gave you?
I did read it in the car, and okay. So
Don't talk
question.
about it yet.
Well, just general question. Nothing too specific. Um, Part of it said that I normally don't remember those things that happen there.
Mm-hmm.
Do I remember this instance?
You'll find out in a little bit.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Because then I was like, is it something like she just wakes up and is like, I don't remember anything. I'm just freaked out. Or
You'll find out in a little bit. We're actually gonna
cool
start off
beans.
with a reading of all three dreams as soon as everybody else gets here in the stream. I
Awesome. Because I was like, I hope I didn't miss anything important.
Nope,
I like
nobody
I
else
read
is
through it.
here
I'm
yet.
like,
I was
all right,
gonna
cool.
read I was gonna read them off separate and post them as a separate video of just the dreams, but I figured after I finished writing your dream, yours was the last dream that I finished. I figured after reading all of them a second time, it would have so much more impact if you heard them all together. So I'm gonna be
Okay,
reading
cool.
all three dreams. So I got plenty of throat comfort aloe juice for the event.
Because my other question was like, is there a particular reason why it's Nyx?
Oh, there is a particular
Like
reason
the
why it's.
name Nyx as opposed to another name.
Yeah, there's some
Okay,
reasons. There's some reasons.
cool. All right. I just had some general questions. I apologize. I ask a lot of questions. People at work and everything know that because when they're like, anybody have questions other than Kathy? I'm like, and I wait, and they're like, okay, now it's Kathy's turn. What questions do you have? Because we know you have them.
Well, thank you. Here's my itemized list in order of importance and
No,
relevance to
really,
the
seriously,
situation.
I generally do have a list.
I know.
And
I
I'm
went
like,
to
okay,
school
so
with you.
this one probably wouldn't occur very frequently, but if it does, what will we do in this situation? And they're
This
like, really, that is probably extremely unlikely to happen. I'm like, yes, but what if? I need to know. Okay, cool. So that should be done. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to actually respond to people, aren't I? Discussion board.
foolish discussion board. You cannot take up the time of the D's and Z's.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just read and see if there's actually this week provide you this thing to report. Okay, now that you finished reading, I'd like you to share your responses to the following questions. Well, she didn't ask us to respond to anybody else, so okay, cool. So I'm not going to respond to anybody else then because she didn't ask to for me to respond to anybody, and she said that she would tell us if we were going to have to respond to somebody. mean, I guess I could respond to people. I
Nah.
don't really want to.
Responding is for chumps. Chumps that are not playing Dungeons and Dragons.
But I do need to actually finish submitting my homework. So let me just click and drag. Which one is this? Are you 1 or 2? You're 1. Submit that one. And then this one is number 2. Submit file. Make sure. Number 2. Yeah. I'm having Mom read through them just to make sure, like, I don't have any blatant spelling errors. Hi!
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I just yawned. I think it's contagious.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're just
Also,
waking
I
up
just
after
noticed-
a lovely dream.
I just noticed that you wrote there, my tail is prehensile. It is.
That's the new quote.
I got skills, okay? I can't hit a dragon to save my life, but I have a tail that can pick out a potion, an empty bottle, because it's...
Oh, whoops, that's the wrong game.
Dun dun dun.
It's fine. I almost opened Among Us, which is not what we're playing.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
It's a
How's
Rooney.
that going?
It's most of a Rooney.
Most of a Rooney. Where's the rest of the Rooney?
With
Uh,
Wessel.
Aw.
Mm.
Aw.
Hanging out with Wessel.
Honestly, that's a lot more ominous than you know right now, considering
Oh.
Nyx's dream, but...
There we
Wessel,
go. That's the right game.
Wessel's with you. He's just not visible at the moment, or he might
Yeah.
just be with Nyx. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Oh, and Caliph is watching us tonight. Shout out to Caliph.
Hi.
Caliph is our dungeon master in real life for some of us. They're going to be commencing a campaign on Wednesdays sometime in the near future that I may or may not be able to stream, depending on the consent of the other people in that campaign who I have not had the opportunity to ask yet. But Caliph is like 50 times the dungeon master I am, so you will be even more enamored of that one if I do get to stream it.
And I have some
Wow.
ideas for
Caliph.
possible new characters. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go with Nyx or if I'm going to go with something else.
Oh, we're not allowed to talk characters yet. We gotta wait for
I know,
session
I
zero
know,
for
but I'm
that.
thinking. I'm just saying. I'm thinking.
We're always thinking.
That's true. It needs to stop. It's too many thoughts.
Oh yeah, and Rudy is having a little bit of trouble with her throat tonight. It is not the COVIDs. We have been
I got
reassured.
tested.
She got the good test too, the one that takes
The
a couple of
good
days
one.
to be sure.
I know. Those things take
The-
forever.
The one that's at least worth taking, though, because when you get your result, you're like, I can believe that.
I will recommend, not sponsored, but Yogi Throat Comfort Tea is pretty awesome if you have a throat that is unhappy.
We don't speak
like
for the
the
brand or
not
the company, but we can attest it's tasty.
I have some tea. I have some cough drops. We're gonna make it through tonight.
Well, it's especially good as that for the first part of it, you won't have to talk at all because, guys, I'm going to read your dreams.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so our party had a pretty eventful sleep last night. As anybody who has listened to or watched the last episode either here or on YouTube, Misha 1200 on YouTube as well as Twitch, everybody knows that after last episode of fighting a dragon and almost dying, and in one case actually dying, and just by the skin of literally 2 points of a roll being brought back, everybody decided that, hey, near death means we should probably sleep, and I'll see y'all in the morning. Everybody went to their respective abodes. For some of them, that was in the stables, as Nibby and Nix went off to spend time with the ox, who is the really the only true neutral good member of the party at this point. Um,
Hey, we don't know about the manticore yet, okay?
the Manticore
It
is a
is not
baby.
old
It's
enough.
pure chaos.
Okay, fine. You make your point. Fine. I was gonna say we don't know yet what it will be, but chaos is sound about accurate at the moment.
All babies are chaos. I mean, two of us in this party have children in real life, and we can attest babies are chaos. Right, Rooney?
Just muted my mic because my 1-year-old is shrieking in the background.
See, my point is proven. Ah. So anyway, yeah, you guys all went off to your respective abodes to get some sleep. Nix and Nibby went to go spend the night with the ox in the stable because it's very comforting in there. Donabella and Sives went back to their room. Ruby and Rooney went back to the room that they had been sharing at the inn. Rooney had to go to bed without being able to curl up on her beloved Wessel the Weasel because he had been poofed into stardust during the battle, and he will not return for another 24 hours.
Well, not quite 24 hours, because if it's nighttime, then it might be like 23 hours at this point.
At this point, it's less than 24 hours after getting to bed. But anywho, so everybody settling down for sleep. Some more deeper than others. Some of us staring at a wall, meditating. I'm looking at you, Sives. And as sleep claims you one by one throughout the hours, our party is plunged in to a world of darkness and dreams, which for one person is actually extremely unusual. The night was very strange for Sias, to say the least. It was strange in that he actually did sleep. It was not intentional because he had begun the evening in his normal meditative state. Also, he was not alive, and so sleep was not normally a luxury he enjoyed, a place of dreams and sensations that he had left behind a long time ago. But sleep he did, and with the velvet curtains of true rest came the dreams. They were normal at first, if anything about the elf could be considered normal. It was lecturing, it seemed, at a podium made of living oak. The wood twisted and changed periodically, making itself more elaborate with each reincarnation. He stood there speaking at length, in a language even in his dreams he did not understand the meaning of. Before him, seated cross-legged on the ground, or on benches and behind desks, as he made his grand gestures and exciting proclamations, was Donabella. A lot of Donabella. There was at least 30 of her in this classroom, which appeared to be made of a rather cold and shabby stone that had seen eons of wear from wind and water. One wall had actually half crumbled, revealing a misty, swampy moor outside of whatever school or university he was employed in. The Donabellas were in different states of attention. A few were taking notes in identical notebooks. One was trying to peer over its twin's shoulder to catch whatever information it had missed, and several were asleep in the back row, looking positively exhausted from a night of cramming for exams. The few by the broken wall were occasionally gazing out of it as he lectured, with the glassy-eyed stare of students imagining themselves elsewhere. One midway to the back appeared to be building a small unicorn out of carefully folded papers that were riddled with years of notes, and she frowned sadly whenever it fell apart. All of this was normal as it could be, given the fact that he rarely slept, let alone dreamed. What was not normal was the growing sensation of dread that he could feel building in his cold, dead heart. As he watched, swampy water from the moors beyond the room began to rise. It trickled through the cracks of the classroom, dipping through the gaping hole in the wall, bubbling slowly, muckishly up from beneath the single closed oak door at the back of the room. Donabella's did not seem to notice, even the ones seated on the floor in the front rows. even as it began to rise, at a rate slow but steady. Ives would frown at this, finding himself attempting to draw their attention to it, though only that nonsensical language seems to spill from his lips. When he attempted to step away from the podium, he found his arms entangled. To his surprised gaze, he saw the living wood had turned rotten and pustulant beneath his fingers, though it still grew all the same, thick, reedy vines in different states of decay and putrefaction winding around his form. He attempted to rip his body free, even if it meant losing another of his arms in the process, but the growth was too quick, burrowing beneath his flesh and threading itself out the other side as it coiled around and through him, holding the elf in place. Panicked, he looked up to call his students for aid. The water had risen. Those that had sat on the floor were no longer visible, not even the tips of their unicorn hats. Those on the benches or seated at desks seemed to take no notice of what was happening, though the waters were at their own chests, thick, muddy bubbles rising from the murky swamp water over the places where their lookalikes had sat in the front row. Only one seemed to see what was happening, one without a unicorn hat, who had been trying to make the paper unicorn at her desk. She was standing atop it, looking around in wide-eyed terror at the swampy mire continuing to rise to consume the room. Locking eyes with Sives, her hand shot out, fire exploding from her fingertips to lap at and burn away some of its ghastly vine restraints. Now the others took note of a change, heads still visible turning slowly to face her with a grotesque tabula of rage and hunger written over them. Expressions he had never seen before upon his dear apprentice's face. They began clawing their way up from the swampy waters, reaching out for her. It was then that he saw they did not all look the same. Only the one who had aided him had the healthy glow of a bright, young human girl. Cheeks pink, eyes bright. These others, their skin was pale, a puckered green in some area. Their hair, how had he not seen it before? It was stringy and limp, like rancid noodles. Nothing like the shock of choppily cut blonde spikes on his girl's head. He saw the sores on their reaching arms, the peeling flesh, the bones poking through, and the last image of Donabella he saw, before she was dragged down beneath the surface of the swampy classroom by a horde of undead, was her terrified face. Eyes locked with his own, arm outstretched, screaming his name until the putrid water flooded her mouth and the boggy waters claimed her. Several large bubbles broke the surface, pop, pop, splattering the ceiling around him with reddish-brown muck. And then nothing. Silence. Complete and utter. He was alone, bound on the teaching podium by the putrid thing itself. Then there was a slow, a suckling sound as the gallons of mucky water rushed from the room, out the slowly opening door. There was nothing beneath it. No desks, no benches, no bodies, no Donabella. That was both a relief and a blow all in one, but who was in the door? There was a shadow there, tall. Darkness seemed to radiate from it, creeping across the floor to fill the spaces the swampy water left behind. Sives breathed out. Why was he breathing? Sives breathed out, an icy sheen of air before his gaze. It was cold. He raised his hands. Two hands. Elven hands? Where was the podium to warm himself? His body had forgotten cold. His soul remembered it. It was the feeling that burned within as his eyes locked with the figure. Eldritch eyes, purple and burning as they gazed at him from beneath the hood it wore. Cute. The voice was so familiar, it sent another round of chills to rack Sives' somehow living self. We still dream, do we? I would have thought you'd have grown out of that by now. Cast such childish things away. It stepped closer to him, its robes more flowing shadows than real cloth. Still, it does make things easier. The figure loomed over him, but was barely taller than him by an inch. It still seemed impossibly large as it drew close, and he caught flashes of pale, ice-touched flesh beneath the shadowy hood, frost spreading over taut skin. The thing leaned in, unseen lips brushing his ear, as a stab of pain wrapped him from the contact, as if upon his very soul. I'm coming. Be a dear and don't be on the wrong side of things when I arrive. All right, brother? And with that, you can hear the screaming again, but it's not just Donabella's. It's Rooney's, it's Nix's, even that stuck-up Goldjacket is. Hundreds of voices he'd only heard once or twice in the past, but each one familiar, each one known, each one his name. Burning purple eyes consume Sai's vision, and he finally awakes as light hits his face from the window of the inn. But the cold lingers, and his clothes smelling faintly of swamp water. That very night, another of the party lay restlessly in their bed. Rooney the halfling never had bad dreams. Not when Wessel was here, curled up around her and holding her close. His warmth, his body, both in spirit, were enough to keep any nightmare at bay. But Wessel was not here tonight. His comforting, fluffy body was absent, and she lay curled up in a tiny ball of achy muscles and exhaustion, without her soul-bonded Weasley companion. No amount of blankets that she stacked and crawled on top of did the trick. Even the musty bearskin rug she'd dragged out of some forgotten storage chest for winter furnishings didn't help. It was with several hours of restless tossing that she achieved sleep, and when she did, dream began. She was walking in the woods, her woods, Neverwinter woods. It was always peaceful here, and her feet knew every path and rabbit trail that traversed its length, which was good because she was apparently barefoot. She could feel the soil beneath her toes as she walked the path she had walked 1,000 times before. She was dressed simply, no armor, no weapons adorning the gnome, just her regular clothing she wore when at home amongst her family, and of course her hat. The ground was warm and the air was heavy, sticky, almost uncomfortable in a way. The ancient trees around her swayed back and forth, blown by a breeze that must have come from further up. They groaned lightly in the dying light of the day, the sun at Rooney's back as she walked. Even it was muted, though, as if blocked. Curious, she turned to look over her shoulder, noting the darkness creeping across the sky to the west. Clouds, heavily laden with rain. Large, black thunderheads that must have rolled in from the sea were making their way over the Neverwinter woods, cutting off the last vestiges of the sun in their wake. It made sense now, that heavy air that surrounded her. It was the calm before the storm. And she saw crackles of bluish lightning dance across the surface of the approaching gale. Rooney knew that she had to hurry or she would be caught out in it. Turning from the sight, her steps became brisk as they carried her through the Neverwinter wood, the hushed sounds of trees beginning to rise in volume with the coming of the storm. It wasn't until the first fat, wet raindrops began to speckle her hat and shoulders that Rooney realized what was wrong. Animals. She heard no animals. Not the chatter of squirrels as they rushed back to their trees. Not the stamp of stags as they alerted their does and fawns to the coming danger. No birds. No insects. Most importantly, most disturbingly, no Wessel. Panic gripped at Rooney's heart, her pace quickening as she darted through the woods, trying to remember where she'd last seen Wessel before coming on this walk. At home? No. He wouldn't have let her go out alone. By the river? No, he certainly wouldn't have left her there. Not after the incident with the otters last summer. Where was he? She reached out inside through that soul bond that they shared and felt emptiness. A void. Nothing. Lightning crackled, lashing out at a tree near her and twining it in vivid electric blue. It snapped, raining wildly as it fell behind her, the thunderous sound of it and the rain that was now pounding the earth around her, spurring her on. She stumbled, fell, ran blindly with water streaking down her features and blinding her vision. The path beneath her feet no longer felt familiar. It did not feel like the way home, though she should have been. The trees around her were strange too, growing more gnarled and twisted the further she ran. The soil should have been hard-packed dirt and grass, but she felt the bite of sharp stones and thorny vines on her heels, and it was climbing, twisting, and sharply turning upwards, where the path home should have been level and fairly straight, no hills, and only the gentle looping curves to keep from disturbing any badger or fox dens. The thunder that accompanied every new lightning flash was deafening, like the drumming of 1,000 hooves chasing after her as she raced up the path. And it wasn't until she nearly tripped and a set of great tusks hooked themselves in the back of her shirt and tossed her into the storm-drenched air that she realized that it was hooves. Massive ones. Rooney landed on the coarse, bristly back fur of a gigantic boar, her tiny hands clinging for dear life as it raced up the path she had been treading. With every fall of those hooves, another lance of lightning shot across the open sky, and she could swear that there were responding sparks of it, arching off the beast's hooves. It barreled through the forest with the gnome clinging there, bashing through any trees or oak grove that dared stand in its wake. Before she had a chance to collect her senses and process that she was astride the truly colossal thing, they burst free of the tree line, careening up a tall hill. The wind and rain had no buffer now, and it whipped down in full force upon the young gnome, threatening to sweep her off the back of the boar. Somehow she managed to hang on. Thoughts of what it would be like to die under those hoofs flashing in between the lightning strikes that now touched down all around them. The blue sky fingers lanced over the ground and left furrows of scorched earth as they mounted the tall, sloping hill. The boar finally skidded to a halt there at the apex of the hill, snorting and blowing in agitation. High, ancient stones surrounded them in a circle. 8 slabs, evenly spaced apart and towering over even the large boar, circled the top of the hill, and the wind and rain whistled through them in an eerie way. Sounded almost like speech. Sounded like Rooney. The voice was a thunderous rumble, accompanied by lightning cracking across the sky above. The boar beneath her reared its head back, squealing manically at the sky. Its body beneath her began to glow and vibrate. She could feel the hum of power beneath her as it grew brighter, before exploding in a shower of lightning strikes that arced all around her. Every hair on the gnome's head rose as she floated there in the space where she had been left, held aloft by arcing, crackling cords of chaotic electric power. It should have hurt. It should have burned. But it felt good. Exciting, even, in a terrifying sort of way. Rooney, the voice came again, ripping open the sky. The clouds above her swirled in dark, crackling peaks, forming a small spiral above her head as she peered to the skies. They looked so odd, even for an unnatural storm, almost like a face. One glowing electric eye of lightning, a beard of chaotic cloud cover, and a voice like thunder. Child of forest and trees, know me. You felt me coursing through your veins. My voice has kissed your ears in every peal of storms. My eye follows you even now. Reckless emotion leads your hand to action, and what I have seen pleases me. His booming voice vibrated the air around Rooney, the pain of it making her clutch her head and grimace. It was not unbearable, but it was wild. An uncontainable force of raw emotion and action, of sheer chaos. She was a gnome, but she had never felt so small as she did in this moment, held in the grasp of the storm on that ancient hilltop. Little bolts of lightning running up and down her form like crackling cats seeking affection. Recognition would strike her almost as fast as the lightning did. The features she saw above her were the same that had presided over the altar in the lighthouse. This must be the god that it was in worship to. Come to me, child. Come to me, and we shall unleash a tide of chaos upon all those who might be your foe. I will make you a force of nature that none will dare stand against. Abruptly she was dropped, the arcs of electricity that had held the gnome aloft rising skyward and convalescing in one brilliant orb of electricity that hung in the sky between her and Talos, the god of storms. She hit the ground hard, looking up at this wild display of power and divinity. Or defy me, and earn what all others who choose such a fate may expect. The bolt came down so wide and bright hot that there was nothing she could do to avoid it, sprawled as she was atop the hill at the center of those ancient standing stones. Rooney threw her arms up, trying to shield herself as the pain racked her, the bolt encompassing her every being. This must have been what Ruby felt, only 1,000 times worse than the dwarf had received. Her screams were lost to the storm, a roaring cacophony of sound and fury. She thrashed wildly, spasming and flailing as the god's final words echoed in her ears. Be mine or be dust. Look for me where the teeth of earth reach the heavens. With a final scream, the gnome was awake, the scent of burning hair and lightning still fresh on her mind as she fell from her makeshift bed to the floor of the inn, covered in what must surely be sweat that smelled strangely of forest and rainwater. Even as strange as her dream was, it was nothing compared to the tiefling who slept curled up in a manger of hay in the stables next to her best friend Nibby, the ox grazing next to them as they lulled off to sleep. The dream began the same as it always did. Every time it happened, she was running as fast as her feet could carry her. The world around her was a halo of flames that crept up the ornately decorated walls of the chapel. The tapestry sagged, the crackling fingers of flame digging into it and warping the holy record's artistry beyond recognition. She winced, jerking and stumbling as the mosaic windows behind her shattered from the pressure of the heat and the growing inferno. Behind her she could hear the angry shouts and also the pained screams. The young tiefling dared to look back, her head turning just as a golden spear of sheer light zipped by her cheek, grazing it and drawing blood. The wound sizzled and popped, burning her in a way that the fires that consumed this building never could. Her eyes met the ones she had known for years, and with them saw hatred, disgust, rage, and killing intensity. Things she always had known lurked deep there, but had never been able to put words to until this night. Until the accident. But was it an accident? The words were a soft, gentle purr of sound, a deep, velvety voice that echoed through her, rumbled up from what seemed the far reaches of her mind, or soul. Another spear arced across the alkaloid's hands as they hurled it at her, continuing to give chase. A few trying to drag along their charred comrades, attempting to both escape the death trap she had created and also catch up to the fiend responsible for all this. Run, darling, run! The voice came again, its deep amusement and insistence scaring her almost more than the realization that those she called family desired her death. And run she did, the tears that made tracks down her cheeks as she did so, almost more painful than the sting of holy magic at her back and the crackle of flames on her heels. Nyx ran, and she did not look back again. Even when the world shattered around her, the crashing of 1,000 colorful mosaic windows, the shattered visages of the gods she was abandoning staring at her with accusatory eyes. Abruptly the flames were gone, and her subconscious burst into a new part of her nightly dream. This was the part she called the void. It was dark here, quiet, serene almost, the remains of her past falling around her in slow spiraling fragments, some larger than others, as they made their way ever downwards in a gentle cascade. There was no floor here, but somehow she was standing easily. Nyx knew that if she reached out and touched one of the fragments, she would be able to see that memory, that instant preserved in time forever. Every great triumph and little joy, and every grave mistake terrible loss. It all depended on how the day had been, what she wanted to relive, what sometimes she tried desperately to change. Nyx was always lucid in the void, and she always knew each memory by heart, even if her waking self could not recall them. Bare feet carried her through the spinning forest of her past, the most recent memories glittering like tiny gems in the sea of their fading older siblings. In the center of the glittering garden was a fountain. Its stones were ancient and time-worn, intricate patterns, and what may even have been words carved along its massive basin. The waters that bubbled up at its center, seemingly sourceless, were a shimmering violet in nature right now, but Nyx knew when she touched them, they could change in an instant. Rainbow waves of brilliant hue could form from her touch, swamping and spilling over the sides of the basin. Tiny golden ripples might span out, barely affecting the rest of the waters, no more than a butterfly's touch. Or they might begin to boil, eventually frothing up and erupting in a font of destructive wrath that would destroy her dream in an instant and wake her in a cold, terrified sweat wherever she lay. Nyx tried to avoid the fountain whenever possible, years of experimenting and testing leading her to believe it was far more trouble than it was worth. But sometimes, sometimes like tonight, she just had to visit it. It drew her in, the gentle and enticing glow of its violet waters, somehow a far more vibrant shade than usual. And no matter how much fear prickled the back of her neck as she did so, Nyx couldn't help but lean over the basin. Reaching her hand out, she brushed her fingertips over the waters. The change was not immediate, not violent or shocking as it so often was. The ripples began to spread from where her fingers had touched, a deep umbral midnight in nature as the pool darkened, to an almost mirror-like black sheen. She could see her reflection perfectly now, shrouded though it seemed to be in the darkness that the fountain held. It bothered her that she was always a child in these dreams, the features staring back at her those of her 10-year-old self every time. It made her feel even more vulnerable than she already was here, in this place, surrounded by so many things she'd rather forget. The Nyx in the pool nodded slowly at her, and turned to point deeper into the fountain's recesses. The tiefling squinted slightly, leaning closer to see what it was that she was telling herself, only to jerk back abruptly as Donabella erupted, screaming from the pool and grabbing for her in sheer terror. Startled, Nyx jerked back, her robes caught by the human girl's flailing hands and held fast. Nyx was nearly dragged into the water before her as the girl clung to her, still crying out in fear. It took Nyx a minute to see what she was going on about, but when she did, the tiefling grabbed hold of the girl's arms, trying to pull her free of the pool in her own fit of desperate terror. Green-toned, decaying arms reached up, grasping the girl on multiple portions of her gangly form. She could see bone in several places and the leering features of a mass of pustulant-riddled corpses as the zombies below the surface attempted to drag her back down again. Even as she tried to pry Donabella from their grasp, she couldn't help but feel as though they were familiar. It clicked, Nyx's horror cementing as she spotted the unicorn hat one of them still wore, worms writhing in one of the eye holes of the cheery papier-mâché prop. The shock made her release her hold, and in all of an instant, Donabella was gone. The pool a still mirror once more, only a few ripples remaining. Desperately, the tiefling gazed about, trying to spot her. Climbing up onto the edge of the basin, she was about to dive in when, "I wouldn't, you know. It's not going to be pretty if you do." Blinking, she would look up. There, seated on the edge of the basin, a few feet from her, was Wessel. Wessel the Weasel, in all his giant weaselly goodness. His fur shimmering slightly every time he shifted or spoke, as if a thin layer of stardust clung to his being. "You know I'm right," he continued, as she stared at him in stunned silence. No one had ever been with her in the void before, and now, tonight, too? Russell padded forward, peering at the ripples left behind by Donabella. "Jumping in would only make things much, much worse. That's a pretty stiff undertow down there, and I'm not an otter, Lord knows. hand didn't bless me with webbed feet." He chuffed, the slightly squeaky bark passing for a bit of a laugh. "Besides, it hasn't happened yet. You've got time to get ready. We've got time to get ready." Wessel nods decisively at Nyx, before turning his worried gaze toward the center of the pool. "However, I'm not so sure what to do about that." Following his eyes, Nyx beheld a small storm cloud brewing over the center of the fountain. Tiny bolts of crackling blue lightning raced along its length, and the tiefling could swear she saw a face within every other flash or so. Once it was Rooney, her face in a grimace of rage and intensity. Next it was a man with a flowing beard of raging thunderheads, his single eye a font of lightning itself. They flashed here and there, merging occasionally in a rather worrisome manner. The cloud expanding over her fountain until she could feel the waters in the basin below lapping at her feet as the surface was disturbed by the rising gale the storm brought with it. "I'm really going to need your help with that. I think you might be the only one who can talk sense into him. She's spoken for, you know, and he needs to accept that." Russell shudders angrily for a second, his hackles rising as he stared at the moving thundercloud. As if in opposition to Wessel's opinion, a bolt of lightning lashes out from the dark cloud mass and strikes the basin where Wessel had once stood. The weasel skips nimbly away, his back arching in a traditional war dance manner. The resounding thunder cracked across Nyx's ears, deafening in its rage. The void shook, and she could hear the crystalline tinkling of her memories jostling against one another. "So is she," came the whispering purr of a voice, and Nyx froze. She hadn't heard that voice since the night in the chapel. Since... Shh, 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 shh. Relax. I've only ever helped, haven't I? "Nyx?" Wessel was looking at her with almost as much worry as he had the storm. "Nyx, are you—" And he stepped towards her, the tiefling erupted in flames, the crackling blossoms of fire blooming from her and causing the weasel to lunge back and out of harm's way. "That's my girl," the velvet soft growl proclaimed as she watched her hand raise. The fire flocked towards her open palm, racing and twining upon itself to form a small tempest upon her outstretched hand. It grew, reaching up for the storm cloud and dragging it down, 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 and in. A lancing pain struck her hand, smoke rising from the smoldering palm, as lightning and flame swirled together in a firestorm of epic proportions. "Nyx, let it go!" called Wessel, the eloquently spoken weasel clinging to the basin with all four paws as he tried not to get dragged into it. "Yes, darling, let it go," the voice cooed, and she obliged, though by her will or another's she had no idea. The tempest roared free of her grasp, arcing out over the still pool before striking down upon its center, where the waters bubbled up from. Instantly pain consumed her very being, the waters exploding upward in a roiling tidal wave of pain and chaos that she'd never seen before in her entire life. As it crashed down upon her, sweeping her away and drowning her in wild magics that she'd never even imagined in her most terrified state, she felt a tug at the back of her shirt. Unable to breathe, she turned her head and saw Wessel desperately clinging to the back of her shirt by his teeth as the world exploded into lightning and flame and swirling, drowning waters. Nyx awoke, having fallen out of the hayloft that her and Nibby had shared for the night, her nightshirt having hooked into the edge of the wooden trough and half choking her in the process. A minute or two of frantic scrambling and she regained her feet, but her palm stung something fierce. And when she looked down at it, there was a small, charred imprint upon the center of her palm, in the shape perfect spiral. You all have had some very disturbing dreams this night.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. See, Wessel's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
It's all good. I'm sure it's. I'm
Doctor.
sure it's. I'm sure it's perfectly. I'm sure it's perfectly fine.
None of it was
Oh, good.
Fine.
None of it was
Yeah.
fine.
It's all good. It's fine.
Literally none of it was fine.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
good. Nothing's wrong. It's all good. It's good. It's good.
yeah, it's the normal dreams. Just we're very busy. We just needed to catch up on REM sleep. Sometimes REM sleep just causes some weird dreams. Fine, everything's fine.
Speaking of fine, we're gonna start with you, Sives, since you were technically the first person to wake up. Sives, you awake from this wonderful wonderful dream. What do you do? You're waking up, buddy. You got Donabella sleeping over there on the bed, sprawled half off it, snoring like an elephant as per usual.
Well, Sives, I guess, wakes up, not used to waking up, so probably seems confused for a good few, just, just a good 10 seconds, just staring around the room like, what? Wait, hang on, what? Oh, okay, I see what happened. Nervous chuckle, and then kind of gets up out of the chair, having fallen asleep at the desk, and wanders over the bed, leans over to peek at Donabella, make sure her face isn't all, missing.
Roll a perception check. Or I guess in this case, since you're looking real up close, it would be more of an investigation check.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's see if she has a face.
Well, she doesn't have her unicorn hat. You're not really sure what happened to her unicorn hat, honestly, but she hasn't had it since you, quote unquote, woke up in the healer's house. But she's got several scorch marks over her. Her skin's kind of redder than usual. Kind of like she got burned with some extremely hot water from a plane of water that wild magic accidentally opened up when a spell backfired in the middle of a fight with a freaking dragon. But she's breathing and snoring in your face.
Well, it's probably fine. Yeah, no, snoring's good. So snoring's good enough. So Size elects to go over, probably back over the desk and uh stare at it for a good 3 minutes, and then probably go over and try to wake Donabella up with a gentle shake of the shoulder. Just to see, just in case. Donabella, wakey wakey.
I don't want to take a bath. I don't. I don't wanna. Oh, hi, Master Sives.
Good morning. At least I think it's morning. How are you?
Oh,
Any mental trauma?
I had a really bad dream.
Yes, I did. That's the trauma.
I dreamed that Ruby ate all of my breakfast.
Well, realistic. Good. Not good that she ate all your breakfast. We'll get you some more breakfast. How about that?
Do you think she really did eat all of my breakfast? Donnabella's awake now. She sits up with a jolt, her already tousled hair even more so given the events of yesterday. She has not, in fact, taken a bath, obviously, because y'all just face planted right where you bunked down at. I need to go save the bacon! And without a backward glance, Donnabella's running out the door, her feet pounding down the stairs. And it is
No.
to...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, Donabella, I'm sure it's just a skin shifter. It's fine.
And it is to Cyrus's calls and the pounding of Donnabella's feet down the door that Rooney finds herself listening to as she jolts into wakefulness from her dream. Rooney, you look around the room, and it seems that Ruby has already left, and there is no Wessel about you either. You are alone in your room.
Up and hear the pounding of the stomping running down and going, thunder, thunder, God, no, oh God, no, not God, I don't know. Okay. All right. This okay. So she's going to try and ground herself, and she's groggy because that was very disturbing. Events of yesterday were very disturbing. So she's feeling around on the cot that she was in. She feels the fur from the bear rug that she had found. She went, "Oh, that's Wessel's not here. Is he? Can she can feel him, right? Because she's soul bonded."
Yes. So you reach out through the soul bond that you share with Wessel, and while it is very faint, you can feel him. He is not strong enough to be reformed. Has not been a full 24 hours yet, but you summarize since he poofed at roughly about noon to 1ish yesterday. You will hopefully see him back again by midday.
She double checks through the soul bond to be sure that she can still feel Wessel, because she couldn't in that terrifying dream, and she makes the decision that she needs to talk to Sives, because Sives once mentioned something about pissing off a god, and while this may have been a dream, it definitely felt more real than what she was ready for, and she doesn't she's afraid of magic. Magic's very, very scary, so having it be almost purely magic based and have it be that bit of magic that she got to experience for those 3 days was very upsetting to her. So she wants to talk to Sives about God.
Well, my child.
She's going to begrudgingly, if she didn't take off her armor and stuff, then she'll just go down. But if she did, she's going to put all of her armor and things back on and head downstairs where she heard Donabella and Sides yelling down to. And hopefully have a lovely conversation about chaos gods.
All right. So Rooney gathers up all her stuff and she goes to make her way down the stairs. As this is happening, a couple of blocks away at the stable behind Barthen's, Nyx is waking up in a rather more almost violent way as she falls out of the hayloft that she was sleeping in and almost hangs herself.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a fun way to wake up there. So she notices that there's that burn on her hand, and she's trying to like logic it away. Like, totally wasn't the dream. The dream must have just been like, response to maybe physical issues. Maybe like the dragon burned her with ice or something. It's got to be a logical explanation, because that's kind of ridiculous. And Wessel doesn't talk. He don't do the people talking. So and Donabella, she's fine, and maybe she should just kind of check on Donabella, make sure she's okay, and make sure Rooney, she probably would say that Wessel doesn't talk. But that's really weird that she has a spiral thing on her hand. That's kind of strange there. Where's the manticore?
So make a perception check.
That's a good question, because she's like, oh hey, you know what? There's a manticore I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on. That's probably Perception, right?
For those just joining us in the stream, aka our DM Kalis. Hey, Kalis. Um, a couple of sessions ago, the dragon froze to death two adult manticores, or mantiquees, as Nyx likes to call them,
Mantiques.
and left behind their barely alive kitten child, basically. It's no more than a couple of weeks old, so it's barely got its eyes open, and the party has adopted it to what end we are not sure, but we couldn't leave a baby manticore to die in the middle of a road with its frozen parents all around it. Um, so Nyx has been mostly taking care of it. Nyx and Nibby and Rooney helping out since Rooney's pretty good with animals. All right, so
Nyx
you.
is not very good with animals, but she can perceive pretty good at the moment.
Nyx does have a prehensile tail though, so it's great for snagging
True.
manticore babies trying to run off.
Yeah, I'm just like holding it with the tail, like you're not going anywhere. The leash.
So you look around for the manticore and you don't see it immediately, and then you see some of the hay rustle, and some of the hay kind of rustle again, and then you see the very tip of like a tiny little scorpion tail poking out of it and like lashing back and forth like a cat's tail might. And you can summarize that the manticore baby has burrowed itself underneath the hay inside the hayloft.
Or we have a scorpion problem.
I mean, it's gotta be a pretty big scorpion.
That's why it's a problem.
Only one way to find out. Light the place on fire.
Hopefully a 19 perception would let me know that it is most likely a manta baby.
Yes, with a 19 perception, you summarize that that's probably the baby manticore hiding underneath the hay, especially when you hear small muted.
And so, what time is it?
That'd be a survival check, I do believe, or a nature check,
Oh,
to be able to tell what
I'm
time
not-
of day it is.
Well,
You don't have
like, is it daytime?
It's
Is it still
definitely
nighttime?
daytime. There's light. If you want to know what time of
Okay.
day is, though, go
I will
out and
probably
look
not
at the
be
sun's
successful at it,
position.
but I'm just like, yeah, see, totally not successful. I just wanted to know, like, it's light outside. That most likely means it's daytime.
Maybe
Okay.
it's the lunar eclipse. With a 2, you
could
think
be.
it might be a lunar eclipse. No, it's daytime. You can tell that it's daytime, but you have no idea what time of day it is. You have no idea how long you slept. You don't even know if it's the next day yet, because you went to sleep mid-afternoon the day
True.
before. You're not sure if it's the same day, or if it's tomorrow already, or what's going on.
Yep, but it's at least daytime, so I'm going to try to see if the little manticore baby would like to eat some food, because I don't know when it last ate, because I don't know where the time is at all. So I'm going to try to feed it, most likely unsuccessfully. That's animal handling, right?
That is correct. So you mix up
Okay,
a
let's
bottle.
see how good I do.
Oh, really well. You got
good.
practice from last time.
Yeah.
So you mix up a bottle of goat's milk and the broth that you had made of the rabbits. You mix up a bottle of goat's milk and broth so it's nice and warm. You heat it up with a little bit of fire balting onto the water skin a little bit, and you feed it to the manticore relatively easily. It helps the manticore baby hasn't eaten since yesterday and is quite hungry and is not willing to fuss at you. It just wants its goddamn milk.
Okay. So
No scorpion stings or scratches though. Good job.
yeah. So I'm getting better. And I'm gonna guess, because it's daytime, Lil's probably just kind of outside, just chirping away, having a blast.
You do hear birds outside. You're not sure if it's Lil or not because there's a lot of birds, but one of them is probably Lil.
Probably Lil, because it's daytime and that means singing.
Mm-hmm.
So then I try to kind of wake up Nibby, who doesn't want to wake up. And so I'm like feeding a manticore and just being like, "Wake up!" He's like, "Oh yeah, okay." and goes back to sleep. So wake up. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, and go back, and then and finally wakes up. He kind of stayed up a little later because he was working on his own little project.
It's kind of like us at a
'Cause-
convention every time it's time to go see a panel.
yeah, he was working on a little project into the evening there, and do you mind? You know about the project he worked on, Aaron.
Yep.
What would his role be for that?
I believe unless he already had specific skill in the making of what he was trying to make, then it would be a sleight of hand role to be able to couple that together. Unless he has a history of making the sort of things that you described to me. If he does have a
I
history,
mean,
it's sleight of hand to advantage.
he probably made something basic, probably not that exact thing. I don't think anybody else would have even considered to make that before. But he probably made similar things in the
Okay.
past.
If he's made
So
similar things in the past, he can make it with advantage, which is good considering.
good. Okay, good. Yes, because we would have
Wow.
had the other thing. All right, cool.
All right. So yeah, you were quite successful in your endeavor to make the thing you were trying to make that you described to me off stream.
And so then Nyx is kind of seeing the thing that Nibby made kind of like off to the side and is like, I know exactly who that's for. And I'm like, Nibby, it's time to get up. One, breakfast. But two, don't you want to give somebody that present you made? And then Nibby's like, yeah, food. Yeah, yeah, Donabella. Yeah, okay, up. Yeah, okay, yeah. And kind of sort of almost fell back asleep, but then actually got up. And then Lil comes in and is like, Yay! And so when they finish feeding the little manta baby, they decide to walk over to the inn. And Nyx also the whole time is like, I don't really want to worry Nibby. He's already kind of been through some things right now, where he's kind of in an okay place at the moment, but I may just need to kind of speak with maybe like Rooney about if Wessel's ever talked to her. And also just make sure Donnabella's like, not wet, and that kind of thing. So then they start kind of making their way towards the inn place area.
All right. Well, you guys are making your way over there. Rooney and Sives and Donabella, with Donabella leading the charge, come crashing down the stairs to the inn. Where do you discover that it still apparently is part of the morning breakfast rush? There's quite a few farmers and miners who are here getting either food to take with them out to their respective jobs that they've got to do today, or are just sitting down to a big meal to load up on carbs before starting their work. And you see at your customary table at the back of the inn itself, there's Ruby with a pile of breakfast meats and eggs and breads all stacked up on the table as per usual. And she gives Donabella a wave as Donabella comes crashing down and beelines for the table. Oh, lass, did you sleep well? Did you take my bacon? No, it's right here. And Ruby just stares at her wide-eyed and slowly pushes the platter of bacon in Donnabella's direction. Donabella stares at her with narrowed eyes. You better not. And then she just starts eating. Ruby kind of looks at Sives and Rudy as they approach at a more normal person pace and is like, what the fuck is going on with her?
Well, bad dreams, nightmares and stuff. Sive says as they pull on their coat, which Ruby would notice that missing an arm, of course, she was there, but one sleeve of their coat has been pinned up, and that's probably what they were working on last night, rather than trying to make an entire new arm, because that would be a little hard to explain. So Sives pulls up the coat and then takes a seat and just shrugs. Still seems a little off, a little nervous, a little distracted. you know how nightmares go. Fiends take all your bacon and then you panic.
Oh, I.
Anyway.
Anybody took my bacon in my dreams. I'd knock 'em right out of the bloody, what you call it? That place in your dreams? The, psyche? What's not? So forth? Psycho?
Probably one of those. Yes.
You,
But anyway.
you alright? Ruby's kind of looking at, Sives with a sort of worried gaze. After all, she was there yesterday when everything happened.
Yes, I'm fine. You know, yeah, things, stuff, breathing, alive. Well, you. Oh wait, yes,
Yeah,
breathing, alive.
Yep, plausible
Yes.
deniability. I'm going to eat my breakfast now. She starts eating her breakfast, uncomfortable with the conversation already.
Right. Okay. Well, as you can see, Donabella, there's still bacon. So no need to panic. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to stare at the table now.
Bruni is going to slowly kind of come up behind, not really sure how to start this conversation, because she's still extremely upset from the dream, so and not very good at hiding it either. So she's gonna come up to the table and sit down and kind of just poke at food and not really eat and keep looking up at Sives and then looking away and looking at Donabella and then poking at food and then looking at Sives and going, hey, so you said something about angering a god before.
Oh.
What happened there?
Well, let's see. If I remember correctly, we were going through, I think it was a tomb or an altar of some sort. I don't know. But
Altar. Okay.
and I found a box which had gold and stuff in it, or maybe skulls. I don't remember. And it was very heavy, so I decided, this doesn't belong on the floor if it's an altar of a god, so I'm going to help them by picking it up and putting it on, on this table over here. And as soon as I had touched it, my hands turned to stuff, and then it was all fine a while later because I obviously have hands. But it was scary for a minute, and the god was rude, but it's fine. It's fine now.
You hear the low rumble of mountain thunder in the distance as you say rude, which is probably terrifying to both of you at this point.
Rooney just like audibly shivers, like,
Why do you ask?
I mean, maybe it was just an exciting day yesterday, and I didn't have Wessel, and we're back in the town and everything. But do you remember the lighthouse and how I was very fast and I had lightning? I touched the altar there, and that happened to me. And last night I had the most disturbing, realistic dream with the god there that they wanted me to be some crazy chaos power, something, and if I didn't, then they would kill me. And I couldn't feel Wessel, and it was very lightninging and blue, and the I it was just like killing Ruby, but not as bad, and it was bad, and I just maybe it was just a dream, but it didn't feel that way. And magic is scary, and I figured I'd ask you.
At this point, Nyx and Nibby enter to hear Rooney proclaiming at the top of their lungs that magic is scary.
Scary. And I figured I should ask you. And then
Well, Dives lifts their hand and gives a wave to Nyx and Nibby, and just stares at Rooney and gives a soft comforting smile and an understanding sagely nod and says, yes, it sounds like you're cursed. But that's fine, curses don't mean a whole lot.
Are you trying to kill me, IRL? Oh my god.
But don't worry, because curses don't mean that much, at least not the minor ones. This doesn't sound more than like a prophetic dream, so we just have to make sure those things don't happen. And then it's fine.
Curse? Prophetic prophecies? We're talking about, look at that.
By the way, Nyx,
What do you ask for my opinion?
Nyx, you're hearing all of this as you approach the table.
I'd like to start with Nibby just kind of like looking at the table, just like, what? And then he kind of looks down at his hands at his little present that he has, and then went, "Hey, Donabella!"
Hey, Nibby!
And ran around the table and said, "I made you something."
What is it? What is it? What is it?
And I'm going to put it in the little chatty chat here of what he made for Donabella.
That's so cute.
He made her a hat to take the place of her unicorn horn because it broke, and so he made her a hat and gave it to her. And I'm also going to put in the chat what it would have been if it was a 3. But luckily it was with advantage.
Oh man.
We're gonna need to change Donabella's portrait picture in game to this new one.
That's why I gave it to you early. So I was like, here you go.
I
You
forgot
have
to
it
download it, but I will have it in there at next game.
Oh man.
So she has a hat, and hopefully she likes it, because Nibby's looking at her real expectantly, like, I made it for you, and is very happy, and Lil's just chirping away.
For those of you who can't see it yet, I do have to download it and I'll make it her new avatar, but it is basically if anybody's ever had one of those cute little hats that your grandparents that your grandparents used to hang on the door at like Easter time that had what looked like bunny ears and flowers on it. It's that, but also a unicorn horn, and the bunny ears are actually unicorn ears. And it's a pretty little straw hat with a bunch of flowers, unicorn horns, and unicorn horn and unicorn ears on it. So many people will be mistaking her for a jackalope, but it is adorable.
It's totally obviously a unicorn.
Donabella thinks it is quite obviously a unicorn because she is literally holding it like you have given her the crown to the kingdom that she has inherited. It's so beautiful! And she's crying again. Cue the tears, as we know Donabella is prone to. She's holding the hat in two hands very gingerly. She looks like she wants to hug the hat, but she also doesn't want to break the hat. It's a very emotional scene here.
And so Nibby's really happy, and because she's crying, he's going to start crying, but they're both crying because they're happy this time.
And she puts on the hat and she proceeds to hug Nibby, and they are now both crying, soaking the toast and bacon.
But they're also trying to eat some of the bacon and toast at the same time because they're hungry. At least Nibby's hungry. He's eating. And Lil's just chirping away. She's just having a blast, just being there.
Lil's sitting
and
on the
Nick's-
hat by now, probably.
Probably, yeah. Just completely content.
Lil's a goldfinch, by the way. A
Yep.
1 HP disaster waiting to happen goldfinch.
But she's managed to avoid orcs and dragons and lots of things at this point. So
Not
knows?
for lack of trying to get killed, though.
I mean, just because she really liked the shiny man and wanted to follow the shiny man.
Following the shiny man is
Shiny
a very
man!
bad idea.
Shiny man. But Oxfriend would protect her because we know the ox
Friend.
can hold his own for a while.
Yeah, unless Sives is involved.
Yeah.
I said for a while.
That's fair.
Anywho, you
then-
walk up hearing all of this
yeah.
about curses
and so Nibby
dreams.
kind of runs off over there, and Nyx kind of sits down and goes, "You had a dream."
Yeah.
Prophetic.
Don't. Okay.
And did there happen to be like a lot of like water in the dream?
Oh no,
And-
that was
and,
mine.
like, You had a dream too.
You had
Ah,
a dream?
possibly either that or I was hallucinating. It's hard to tell.
Did
Okay.
you? Did Sives? Did you sleep?
Ah, that would be the logical conclusion here. Odd.
Okay.
Did either of you have a dream of not so good things happening?
It was
maybe
all
some-
bad. It was all bad.
And
Wessel wasn't there. Not that he wasn't there, like he's not here right now, but like he wasn't there. And she points at her chest. and
Aw.
and
and-
coughs up a little bit of rainwater. No, joking.
no, and there was this crazy. It was the boar. There was the boar with the blue lightning, and I was in my woods, but it was different. There was nothing there. Like no animals were there, and it was this chaos god. Just he it was just a lot, and now Sive says I'm cursed, and
Slightly.
okay.
And-
Magic is scary,
Yeah,
and I don't want to be cursed or dust or chaos or
and was there any water or fire or lightning?
lightning. So much lightning. It
And-
was all lightning.
And Nyx kind of like looks at her hand. And did you happen to see any pattern like this? And holds up her hand with the spiral.
That would have been one of the
That was the-
symbols and things that Rooney would have recognized from the temple or from the altar, right?
Why don't you go ahead and roll investigation check on that? It doesn't look like anything that you remember from the altar. It really doesn't look like anything that you know. It kind of just looks like a weird circular burn on her hand. Not very familiar to you.
I don't recognize that, but there were a lot of symbols. There was a lot of. It was definitely from that altar. It was definitely from the lighthouse.
Let me ask you a question. The chaotic god that was in your dream, did it happen to be a sassy naked lady?
No. It was a terrifying bearded man made out of lightning.
Wasn't. No worries. It's fine.
A bearded man.
Right, that's correct. Correct.
That is correct. Bearded man, one eye.
One eye.
I saw
One eye.
bearded man, right? I saw a bearded man.
You thought you saw a bearded man in the clouds, yes.
Okay. Okay, because I'm like looking through my notes and I'm like, did I see bearded man or was that in her dream bearded man?
Both
Like,
your
I'm pretty
dreams.
sure.
It
Okay,
included a
both of our
cloud.
dreams
Included a
had
cloud that occasionally had a bearded man face in it.
the bearded man made out of clouds.
Lightning. Lightning.
And was Donabella in your dream?
No. It was just me and the boar and the man, the lightning god of chaos.
And also, little side note, Nyx is at this point thinking that Sives' dream had nothing to do with this at all because it had a naked lady in it. And
I
is
mean,
like, I think that might have been a different kind of dream.
Sives' nightmares probably do include naked people, of which he has no use for.
So she's just like, okay. And Nyx is now like, okay, so she's kind of thinking in her mind, okay, she saw lightning, bearded man made out of lightning. I saw bearded man made out of clouds, but maybe it was a different thing. She didn't have a dream about Donabella. You know, she had lightning, but I had fire and water. Hi.
We've got a little LARP here who wants to say hi.
Hello.
She was supposed to be in bed, but she came out to say night night, mommy, and I love you, mommy. Now
Night, night.
Now she's hopping back to her room joyously.
To escape her crib again.
Yes, she will escape her crib until she has decided she wants to go to sleep. Yes, Riley's going potty, honey. Probably. Sorry.
It's
Bedtime
okay.
rituals happen in my bedroom, which is where my computer is.
It's cool. My children are arguing over a movie in the living room. I'm not sure if it bleeds through on my mic every once in a while.
Nope.
Oh, good.
Oh, she got scooped by Daddy and is being taken back into her room. I apologize for any screaming. And
Sup,
sorry for the
Nick?
interruption.
It's fine. Anywho, you were asking a question, Kat?
Yeah, I was wondering, does Nyx know about like the god of chaos and destruction? Like, I would assume with her
Religion
background,
check.
she would just be like a religion check. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I have no idea
Nope.
what you're talking about. Cool.
You did not really fit in with the pantheon that you were learning about. You learned how to fight monsters and demons,
Right.
but you didn't learn about other dark gods. You only learned about your god.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just wondering if she happened to know anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nyx is just trying to convince herself like this is just all a coincidence. We were all tired. We all just had these, crazy dreams. I probably burned my hand on an ice dragon. Maybe it was a reaction to magic. I do magic, things happen. Maybe it was happen. I was invisible some of the time, so maybe I didn't even realize I had it on my hand. I was also very bright, so who knows? Okay. And she just kind of sits there and is like, maybe they were just dreams. Maybe they were just dreams.
Maybe.
Sives, did you have a bad dream? Because you asked about a naked person. A naked woman? That's
Probably. I don't
Is the-
judge.
is that I guess not common for you with your not
Well,
dreaming thing.
yes, it's been a few years. I might have just been really, really tired. Possibly. I don't know. I'm not trying. I'm trying really hard not to think about it. I'm going to say yes, I had a dream. No big deal. It's all good. It's fine. It's probably fine, right?
Should we do persuasion of ourselves to convince us everything's fine? Like it just sounds like we're just like, yeah, it's fine. We're
Well,
convincing ourselves.
If you want to believe Sives, you don't have to roll insight, but if you're trying to figure out if he's being truthful or not, you're going to want to roll insight, and Sives, you're going to want to roll persuasion or deception.
Yeah, all right.
Don't tell them which one it is, just roll the d20 and add the appropriate modifier.
Oh shit. Wait,
He's fine.
no. Never mind. Sorry.
He's noticing that we're inciting on him.
Yes,
Oh, I better
everybody's-
put my face on now.
Everybody's staring at Size, and Size just side glances and straightens up a little bit.
I think Rooney is just trying to figure out what is going on, and the fact that all of them seem to have had something weird happen while they were sleeping. She's like, I need to know all of the information, because what if it means that I won't get murdered by an energy demon god scary thing?
And Nyx then remembers and looks at Rooney and says, "Has Wessel ever talked to you?"
Wessel? I get Wessel on a we don't need to talk about it basis.
Okay. Because Wessel talked to me in my dream. So yeah, it must have just been a dream.
Well,
Now
right
the
now, Wessel is just I mean, stardust, spirit, soul, however you want to see it. So, I mean, when he's here, he doesn't talk. I just kind of get him. But, I mean, there's a feeling that comes with it. So, I don't know. I haven't had to experience him as Stardust.
Well, if Wessel did
dragon.
Really hope not.
if Wessel did talk to me during my weird dream, it sounded like he said that you should not say yes. Tell him no.
Ha! Creepy.
Yeah, again, it has to have been a weird dreams. We were all very tired. We had a very stressful day. There was, death.
At this point, Donabella is done crying, and Ruby's just been sitting here quietly the whole time, just listening to all this and slowly sipping coffee. She has accepted the fact that this must be a magic person thing and has resigned herself to pretend she hears nothing. But Donabella kind of pipes up curiously at Nyx. What was your dream, though?
There was a lot going on. Again, it's probably just I was tired. Donabella, you were there. You kind of just kind of fell into some water. She's trying not to scare Donabella, being like, "You were dragged beneath the surface of a fountain by zombies." So she's just kind of you were there. Actually, I think there was a couple of you there. Some reason I think there was more than one of you, Donabella, and Wessel was there. Wessel was talking to me, so obviously it had to have been a weird dream, and there was
Oh,
lightning
definitely.
and fire, and
There's only
lot of-
one of me, says Donabella. She adjusts her hat proudly.
and Nick says, and
Nudging
I
Sives with her elbow.
and Nick is like, and there was a lot of water and the water was like purple, and it was just very weird. It must have just been a dream. I don't. So much stuff going on.
Yes. If there was more than one of Donabella, it had to be skin shifters, and they're not indigenous to this area, so obviously it had to be a dream. Aha!
Master Sipes, you've been talking about skin shifters a lot today. You said Ruby was a skin shifter. She ate my. I'm a what now?
I did not. I said she would have had to have been, because Ruby obviously wouldn't do such a thing. And she didn't. Aha! Logic.
Right.
What's skin shifter?
I think I have a very good explanation for everything.
Mental breakdown.
And Nix looks at her like, yes, please, please.
Yeah,
I think-
Rooney is grasping at straws. She's just like, please give me answers.
I think y'all went through a very traumatic experience yesterday. A lot of us almost died. Master Sives did for a little bit there, a couple of minutes. Not sort of almost. We're not thinking about that anyway. So
My greatest moment.
right. Anywho, it was a very traumatic day yesterday, and it's we when we went to sleep we were not in our best minds, and if a couple of us had some nightmares, that's to be expected. That's just going to be what happens, when you've had a very honestly, it's been a pretty bad couple of days. If we're gonna get really, we've got it's been a lot. We should get some extra milk, take a warm glass of milk before we go to bed each night to ease with the whole sleeping process. And Sives, very easy thing for you. Just never sleep again, then you won't see naked ladies.
Well, that was the plan, and then this happened.
Excellent! Glad we're on the same boat. You just never sleep again, Sives, and everybody else, warm milk.
Sounds good to me.
And then
And
Ruby just
says,
realizes.
And I don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ruby just realizes what she said and slowly turns her head and looks at Sives. But not that fucking milk.
Ah, okay.
And Nibby says, I'm going to drink warm milk because I don't want to have water in my dreams. Because he heard Nix talking about water, and he's like,
Nibby's greatest fear: a bathtub deeper than 2 inches.
He's like, I'm okay without the water there.
Man, if I had given Nibby a nightmare, it would have literally been a bathtub that just kept expanding.
I think Rooney is just sensing that everybody else wants to stop talking about it. She doesn't, but she's just going to let it sit since no one else is wanting to talk about it.
Now, slightly out of character question.
Mm-hmm.
There's like nothing where, like, there's not like a psychologist, dream analysis person like are in the area. Like, there's not like a person who's like, oh yeah, we got like the dream interpreter down the road here. Like, that's not something that happens in this world, right?
Go ahead and make me just a regular intelligence check.
I'm not very intelligent.
I
Where's
don't
my?
believe that.
Where is intelligence? Where are you? There you are. So you're not too intelligent.
Well, you don't specifically know of any in the area, but you have heard that there are some people that can interpret the meaning of dreams. You don't know where they might be located, but you know they exist.
Okay, so she's kind of sitting there for a little bit, kind of like, eating a little bit, and is still thinking about the dreams, which I think Rooney is also just still thinking about the dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and is like, do you happen to know if there's like, do they have a special name, Aaron?
You don't know.
Okay, well, I didn't know if they had like a special title or something.
They do, but you don't know what it is
oh, okay.
with an 11.
Okay, do you know if there's anyone in the area who may know how to interpret dreams by chance?
Hmm.
Who's the question directed towards next?
Just kind of
General
quietly,
table.
general at the table, kind of quietly, just like, just a quick question if anybody happens to know.
Nope, that's a thing.
Yeah, Sives, you don't even know that there's people who can do shit like that. Rooney, if you want to make a check for it, you make a history check with advantage because you know the area.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
And you're like, aha!
All right. So, you do recall that there used to be a little old lady who lived in the forest at one point. Your forest, in fact, the Neverwinter Wood. She was a half-elven woman. She lived by herself, and she's been there for a very long time, as long as anybody can really remember. And she's what people would call a hedge witch. She does a number of things. She makes alchemical items, not healing potions, but other things. She
Hedges.
Yeah, sure. She makes hedges. She's very good at landscaping. Runs a great business. All her grandchildren, you can hire them for a day, and they'll turn your yard into something truly spectacular that'll piss the neighbors off to no end. You want a swan made out of a bonsai bush? Yep, you got it. I don't know if bonsai bush is a thing, but it is now. Anywho, so among her many talents of small little magics, she does have a penchant to be able to do things like give you small prophecies of the future, read tarot cards, read palms, and some people say can even interpret dreams.
Neat.
Well, then I share that with the group, kind of timidly, kind of tiredly. But if anyone else wants some
Nix is like-
answers, there's
Nix is
this
like,
lady.
how
Her
far
name
away is
is-
she? Maybe that's something we should look into.
And her name, as far as you know, is Grandma Emily.
Be Grandma Emily.
And Nix is like, yeah, that might be something we should look into here. If anyone else wants to, look into the dreams. And Nibby's like, I'm game.
We
I didn't
still
have a dream, but I'd be interested.
We still have to help Barthen.
We got to leave today for the logging camp, don't we?
That's true. Well,
I guess-
suppose we find her on the way back.
I was going to say, like, how far away is she? And is she on the way?
Rooney, with your knowledge of the area, and you already did the history check, you know that she's not really on the way to the logging camp. She's off the beaten trail, but you could divert a couple hours of time either going to or coming back from the logging camp to probably swing by her cabin. It's down some smaller trails, though, so you wouldn't be able to take the carts that you're being commissioned to take for Barthen to the logging camp down those paths. You'd have to leave them on the road undefended if you all go.
I guess on the way back would be best if that's what everyone would like to do. We can stop on the way back.
I
Well,
agree.
yes. On the way back for certain, since we are a little bit pressed for time. Stupid dragon.
Well,
Cough, cough.
hopefully he'll get indigestion from eating your fucking arm. says Ruby, chuckling a little bit.
Well, here's hoping.
And Nyx remembers that she wanted to stop by the who was it? Weapon
The-
maker person.
Yeah, the armory that's down to the south of
Armory.
town, which you were heading to before the dragon tried to steal the bell in the middle of the city.
So Nyx kind of goes over to Nibby and is like, would you be able to watch the baby for a little while? And kind of like hands it. And Nibby's like, yeah, and because he's like all excited because he thinks it's adorable and he loves little animals, and Lil's just chirping away and all happy because Nyx is like, I'm gonna go head to the armory for a little bit. You all can continue your breakfast if you'd like.
It
I
is
don't want to interrupt your breakfast.
It is fairly adorable at the moment, it is to be noted. It is a baby manticore, which is pretty much passed out asleep, drunk on goat milk and rabbit broth, and it is snore purring right now, so it's quite adorable.
And Nibby's just kind of like sitting there with a big smile on his face, like, I got a kitty.
And it is about the same size, if not a little bit bigger than a regular house cat at the moment.
So just kind of sitting there happily munching on some bacon and holding on to a little manticore baby. And then Nyx kind of starts walking towards the armory, I guess.
I'll go with you. I want to see what they got, says Ruby, and she hops up.
Yes, I dare say I don't have any use for armor at the moment, but you all have fun. I am going to stay at the table.
Me too, says Donabella. I want to pet the kitty. She will
Really?
also eat bacon and pet the manticore baby as it sleeps.
Rooney's gonna try to have a couple bites of something, and then she says that she'll join at the armory in just a few minutes.
Alright,
Okay.
we'll get something good to eat last. You look fair peaked, you do.
Rooney is not having a good time. This is like a particularly bad day. No, Wessel already off to a bad start. We're in the town where she's already uncomfortable because she prefers to be in her woods, but now she can't even think of being in her woods without having this dream pop up. So, like, literally just pure uncomfortable.
Now, when Wessel comes back, does he just like poof? He's next to you, or
Yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was just like he's all of a sudden there, or if it's like he has to like travel from, like, oh yeah, there's a special hole in the ground he comes out of, and he has to come find you or something.
Well, it just kind of goes from being not there to being there, similar
Respawn
to how
point.
he disappears. Yeah.
Wessel respawn point, the weasel den.
I wasn't sure he comes out of the well or something. I don't know.
Jesus
Whatever.
fuck! He's not the character from The Ring. He's a good boy.
I'm thinking more of a haunted house, okay? Where
The
Snake
goodest
came out of the
boy.
well and
The weasels weren't in the well, they were in the fucking rose bushes in Salt Marsh.
couldn't remember the rose bushes. I just remember the well.
That's where the snakes live, woman.
I know there were snakes and there were weasels and there were giant centipedes and spiders.
This sounds awful.
It's okay.
It was, and there were closed doors, and none of us could open a door. It was a lot of stuff going on.
We'll do it again someday with this group. We might have to do it before the next campaign is ready, since I'm working on a homebrew, honestly.
Can Fred come?
Yes, Fred will come this time. I will let you have Fred, especially since there won't be any sidekicks if we were doing a Salt Marsh campaign, because that's not a campaign that includes sidekicks. Icespire's the only one that does. So you'll have to say goodbye to side characters like Ruby and Donabella and just have to deal with NPCs instead.
Don't worry, I'm going to bring Nibby back in the future at some point.
Maybe you can take Nibby to the haunted house, because he won't know where everything is like Nyx.
It's true.
You can
And
just
then
make a
randomly
halfling
find
cleric.
Nyx in the basement.
Oh God, no. Anywho, so you are going down to the armory, to the Lion Shield Cloister. It's that big blue building, just a couple of buildings south to you, right?
This one?
There.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Right
trying to
there.
click on it and I realized I have the pan option, and that's why nothing is moving. And, I can't move my character and stuff.
Oh
All right,
my
let's go down
God.
to the armory.
Jeez, Nick, stop jogging. What the fuck? We're not in that much of a hurry.
Nix is kind of like, all right, let's get everything together, and then stop by the Emily's place on the way back. Also, I don't remember at all what I wanted to get at the armory. What did I want to get at armory? A slingshot?
I have no idea what you wanted to
I
get at the
think-
armory.
I think it was a slingshot. You were going to get like the it was like pellets or something that you could like throw to the
Yeah.
side.
Ball bearings. That's what it
Ball
was. I got some
bearings.
ball bearings.
So there were ball bearings at Barthen's.
Right. I got those, and I was going to get. I
a
think it was a
slingshot to
slingshot.
go with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you want weapons, it's the Lion's Shield at Cloister that you've got to go to. Because Barthen only has the closest Barthen has to weapons are things like mining picks, and those are not really weapons. Those are more tools that the miners use.
Okay.
Although you could
Where's
definitely
the
hit somebody.
weapon house?
All right, so you approach the Lion Shield Cloister, and what you see before you is kind of two buildings in one. You've got a quite large enclosed building that currently has its two front doors open, and you can see a decent amount of activity inside for the morning. There's a couple of people looking at what looks like racks of things like swords and shields and other weapons of various sorts that are kind of spaced out throughout. It's not packed with people or packed with goods. It seems most of what they make is probably on demand, and they only have a few things out as examples of their handiwork. And directly next to it is a smaller building, but it is also completely open to the air and sort of sunken, in which you can see and hear the work of a forge going on. There are several individuals, both young and old, that are there that are forging weapons, tempering ores to make horseshoes. There's a lot of activity going on in there.
So, which one would have the slingshots in it? Do I know that?
So the bigger portion of the building looks like it's the area where you would go in and shop and
Okay.
maybe talk to somebody about it. The smaller portion looks like it's where all the work gets done, and there are a few people who are gathered around the outskirts of that building. Not very many, mostly children who don't seem to have anything better to do right now. Just, sitting down on the grass watching the people inside the blacksmithery work.
It's like a TV. Okay, cool.
Kinda, yeah. It's about as entertaining as you get if you don't have something you're specifically wanting to do or you're playing hooky from school.
Which those children better not be. But so Nyx kind of walks in, kind of meekly here because she knows that sometimes in certain towns she can be a little jarring to see. So she just kind of quietly walks in to look around.
Do a perception check for me next.
Okay, let's see if I can perception things. Let's see here.
All right. So as you walk in and you do your customary, I'm keeping my head down and keeping a low profile kind of thing and start walking around and looking at items, you do notice out of the corner of your eye that unlike a lot of places where you've been, the people here don't seem to be staring at you too much. In fact, there's only like one or two that are like sneaking glances at you, and you don't see nearly the same level of mistrust as you would normally see in this kind of a town setting.
Which is surprising because they all didn't like us yesterday with the whole dragon thing. But
One specific person did not like you about that, and that was more about you ruining her plan of defense.
So I'm kind of looking around, and do I happen to come across a slingshot?
All right, with a 14, it takes you a couple of minutes of browsing. You get past a couple of things before you come upon a rack that seems to have crossbows. There's light ones, there's heavy ones, there's tiny little hand crossbows, and right next to it, inside a small kind of raised box on a little bed of cotton and wool, you see a couple of slingshots of various sorts, some made with metal, some wood. All of them seem to be in a pretty good working order.
Okay. And do they happen to have prices on them?
They do not have prices on them.
Cool beans. Awesome. Okay. And give me one moment here. I'm just kind of looking. So, Nibby has a dagger. Can Nibby use any other weapons, do you know? Or just dagger?
Yeah, Nibby can use a couple of other weapons. Technically, Nibby can use any weapon, it's just he's proficient in certain weapons. So Nibby is proficient with a dagger. He's also proficient with a quarterstaff. And let's see, what else is Nibby proficient in? Let's take a peek, see? Yeah. Spilled something on my book. Oh no. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be proficient in quarterstaffs. He's going to be proficient in short swords and daggers.
Okay. And because I don't know how armor works, because Nyx doesn't actually wear armor, just for my own knowledge, is like leather armor the same as other armors of the same, like, what is that, like a light armor? So is all light armor like the same armor class, or would it be different?
So, just from an OOC standpoint, certain armors usually have different levels of AC or armor class that they give you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't wear them because you're a
Right.
sorcerer, but
Right, but I was
if
thinking for
somebody...
Nibby.
Nibby also can't wear them.
Okay.
He's not a cleric in the traditional sense. He's not a cleric class. He's the sidekick class that's specific to the Icespire Peak campaign, and he does not get armor.
Well, I just see that he has leather on, so I wasn't sure if there was anything else that I could do. Okay, so I'm just gonna get the best looking slingshot that doesn't look like it's the most expensive. So like a good slingshot there that I think would work. And then I'm gonna look around for like, I mean, I guess he's got daggers, so I guess he doesn't need a short sword or quarterstaff. I can always give him something. Okay. So I just kind of continue looking around. Anything else that I might be interested in as somebody who doesn't wear armor and also doesn't really
It seems
need
like
any
it seems like a majority of this place is taken up for people like Ruby, who are more interested in sort of a martial kind of physical approach to things, and less likely to, fling around some fire at people. Majority of what you see in here are things for people built like her, who are going to be literally getting up in somebody's face and bashing them in that face. You see suits of armor, you see some leathers, not as many as you do see armor pieces, of course. You see things like halberds, lances, swords of all kinds of varieties, whether they're giant ones almost as big as Ruby herself, to small little ones that looks like somebody like Nibby or Donabella might be able to wield. You see a couple of staves. There aren't really that many staves in here, and the few that there are don't seem to be any more than really like simple walking sticks with maybe a metal shod bottom to keep them from wearing out on the cobbles a little bit more. They seem more like an afterthought in this building than anything else. You get the sense that a majority of the people who shop here are doing it to get up in something's face.
Okay. So I kind of walk back over to Ruby to see what she's gonna buy.
Ruby
What you
is
looking at?
Ruby is currently kind of engrossed in a couple of hammers that look very much like the giant one that she carries around most of the time. She's engrossed in a couple of different war hammers. She doesn't seem inclined to be buying any of them at the moment, but she's appreciating their work. Seems to like hers the best though, possibly because it has a cool little symbol on it, and none of these have a cool little symbol on it. She's a little bit vain when it comes to her hammer, y'all.
Mm.
I mean, her name is Ruby Warhammer, so.
Hammer Whacker.
Cause
Her name is Ruby Hammer Whacker.
Oh, because that's not close.
And are there arrows here?
Yes.
Okay.
There are several different kinds of arrows. There's crossbow bolts for all different sizes of the crossbows that you formerly saw on display there. There are a couple of quivers hanging on the wall that are just quivers of various sizes for various different races of people who could need them. And there are several different kind of barrels of arrows. You notice most of them don't have tips on the actual shafts yet because that might dull them if they had to be in barrels like this. But it seems to be where you can select certain shafts that you want with certain kind of fletching on them, and then they'll bind whatever kind of arrowheads you request to them. And then, of course, there's a couple of sets of pre-made arrows that are not in the barrels that are just kind of laying on shelves bound together in packs of 12 with twine that have like preset tips on them. Things that look like they'd be good at shooting somebody wearing armor, things that look like they'd be good for primarily hunting, all kinds of different arrows.
Okay. Because Nyx is thinking, Rooney used some of her arrows when we were with fighting the orcs and fighting the dragon. And, that was very helpful. So she thinks that she should buy some arrows for Rooney to kind of, thank her for, helping and also just to kind of help her restock. So Nyx tries to find arrows that look like the ones that Rooney uses and gets a couple of arrows as well.
All right, do an investigation check to see if you can find the correct kind of arrows. Yeah, you're able to find them relatively easily. They're actually near bows that look kind of like the bow that Rudy was. It seems that they put the correct arrow sizes near a lot of the weapons that correspond with them. You see a couple of pre-made packs, and then you see a couple of barrels of different kinds of shafts and fletchings. So you choose the ones that look like they're closest to what she's been using, which are basically standard hunting arrows, really. Since Rooney's main kind of area is the woods itself, and she's a ranger. She does hunting and tracking things in there. These arrows are really what she uses most of the time. So you find a pack of about 12 arrows and a pack of about 20 arrows of different different size varieties if you wanted to get a bigger or a smaller pack of them.
So I'll probably get the 12 pack because I'm also thinking that maybe because you said there were some that look like they might be able to like pierce armor.
Mhm.
So I might just get a couple of those as well just in case.
Okay. So those ones seem to be a little bit smaller packs. They're usually bound in packs of about 2 or 4 apiece.
I'll get 4 of those ones.
Okay, so you've got 12 regular arrows and 4 of the special arrows and 1 slingshot. Anything else that you're looking around for today?
Probably not because I don't think really anything else really applies to her, unfortunately.
All right. So you've got all of these arrows and a slingshot in your hand. Where are you going?
And now I'm afraid to know the price, so I go up to the register.
All right. So there isn't really a register in here. It looks like there is sort of an open doorway that leads down and into the forge that you saw outside, sort of on the right side of the store. And in front of it is sort of like a little curvy desk where there's a couple of stools where normally people would sit. Right now, it seems to be a very scruffy looking old man with tanned, weathered skin and a very long salt and pepper mustache. He's bald except for this salt and pepper mustache, and his arms look like they had once been very muscular, perhaps in his youth, but now they're kind of ropey and gangly, and he looks like he's just been losing some mass over the years. What you want? What you want?
How much would these be?
Mm,
And I kind of.
I see here. Slingshot. That's 2 gold. Slingshot's very good work. These yeah, arrows standard. Hunting arrows. So I'll be 15 silver piece. And oh, I see. What you gonna shoot with these, girly? And he taps the sharper looking arrows that look like they with their weird looking barb tips might be there for penetrating some armor.
Actually, for a friend, I'm not sure exactly what arrows she uses, so I just figured I'd pick up a variety.
He kind of narrows his eyes at you under his bushy eyebrows. All told together, that's gonna run you about 8 gold. 8 gold all told.
Okay, and so I get out the 8 gold and hand it to him, and I thank him.
Much obliged, much obliged. Come back now. Yeah.
And take my things and kind of start moving towards the door, kind of looking to see if Ruby is also leaving or if she's going to buy something.
When Ruby sees that you're starting to move out, she kind of breaks off from looking at the hammers and kind of wanders after you. I don't really want to waste my money on anything right now when we don't really have too much of it. And you feel the bushy eyebrowed man watching you all the way to the door.
And Nyx is kind of used to kind of being stared at, so she's not too surprised at being stared at. So I guess they just kind of work their way back to
now.
the inn.
At this time, Rooney has been trying to get something down to eat this whole time, and I think she was trying to go to the armory as well. Does Rooney bustle in at any point in all this?
Yes. So Rooney manages to get down some sausages and a piece of toast, and has decided that that's probably enough for her stomach for the day, and is going to head over to the armory. She happens to get there just as Nyx and Ruby are leaving, though, so she just missed going inside. But she wants to go in just to kind of look around. Does she know about what Nyx got her?
Well, if Nyx saw her like coming up, she'll be like, "Oh, Rooney, I bought you some arrows. I hope I got the right ones," and kind of holds them out and.
All right. So you see Nyx hand to you 12 standard arrows. Very much almost exactly like the kind you already used, except the ones that you've got you made yourself. And then you also see her hand out 4 wicked-looking black arrows with a very, very sharp, very piercing-looking tips. And these are +1 arrows. You have 4 of them.
I'm so sorry. I have to AFK for a second.
Okie dokie. Rooney is struck speechless by the beautiful arrows and needs to go sit in the grass for a minute or two to contemplate the meaning of life. And Sives, what are you up to?
Well, Sives has been staring at the table, contemplating their existence and possibly the future for the past while. Just staring at the table, people staring at Sives. It's a back and forth thing. Anyway, as soon as Sives, as soon as Rooney gets up to leave, that kind of draws Sives back to the present, and Sives just kind of sits up and looks around, and everybody's gone except for you two. Glances over at Donabella and
Nibby.
Nibby. Yeah.
They wave.
And Nibby's like, "There's 4 of us," and points to the baby and Lil.
Right. Good point.
Are you okay, Master Sibes? You don't really seem at all like yourself this morning.
I'm fine. Who else would I be? I'm Sives. It's fine.
I didn't say you weren't Sibes. Annabella
Libby's
looks very
looking very
confused.
confused.
Yes, well, good. Anyway, were we supposed to meet somebody somewhere? Should we? I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something.
Oh, yeah, well, they went to the armory, but we're supposed to meet Mr. Barthen to escort his caravan to the logging camp.
Right.
He said we
Well,
have
let's
to
go.
leave before tonight to make it there, but the supplies in time.
Indeed. I suppose we go see Mr. Barthen then.
And Nibby
Okay.
looks at Sives and goes, "Are you sure you're okay?"
I'm fine. I'm a little lighter than I used to be, but I'm fine. Sighs past their stump.
Donabella is like not upset at all by this because like she's used to Sives losing arms and then getting new arms and hands and legs and basically everything but the head, honestly. This is a little bit new for Nibby though, so
Nibby drop his bacon.
Oh, poor
And
Nibby.
he goes, "Okay, okay."
It's okay, Nibby. It's okay, says Donabella, and she reaches out and she like cups his cheeks with her hands and she like peers at him in that way that like 12-year-old girls do when they want to be sincere, and she's like, it's okay. Master Sipes knows what he's doing, and it's gonna be all right.
Okay.
And then
And
she
Nibby
nods.
kind of just pets the kitty.
Donabella
What?
probably tries to feed the kitty a piece of bacon, but the kitty's too small for that.
Well,
Unless it's asleep.
Why don't we try to go find some breakfast for the, or lunch, depending on later, for the the little one. How about that? We need to find a goat or somebody who owns one.
Well, I think we got the what is it called again? The thing of colding. What is it?
You have that pail of colding. You got
That's it. I was like the freezer of colding. I'm like, it's not a
No,
freezer.
it looks like a lunch pail, but it's basically just it's
That's
smaller.
right, it is a pail.
Yeah, it's smaller than a bag of holding on the inside, much smaller. You can fit maybe like a chest freezer's worth of stuff in there. But
Still a TARDIS.
yeah, basically. And it keeps it at a very cold, freezing temperature the whole time so that things don't go bad on you.
Well, we have the pail. Maybe we can just buy some milk. Where do we buy milk at?
Didn't
Does
we buy
Barthen
milk
sell
yesterday?
milk?
I
Th-
think so.
I think
I
we
don't
bought-
remember from when.
I
Yeah.
don't really remember a lot from yesterday, unfortunately.
I write it down, says Donabella, and she like throws open her book, leaves through. we
Blessed
bought rations, a lot of rations, and we bought we bought a lot of goat milk, like a whole bunch of bottles of goat milk. We bought the pail. I think somebody bought a cloak, she says, tilting her head to one side. Yeah, okay. We have milk. 12 bottles of it, and she closes the book.
Right?
Do we have broth?
We only have that stuff from the rabbits that they gave us, but there's like 3 bottles of that. And if we're traveling, maybe Miss Rooney can get us more rabbits. She seems to be really good at doing that.
Okay.
Right. Well,
That's
if
good.
we're all set on sustenance for the little one. In that case, I'm going to go summon my familiar outside. I'll be right back. Sives
Okay.
just stands up and walks outside, probably goes around the corner and starts resummoning their familiar. Ritual summon this time.
All right. And what are we summoning it as today, Sives?
Oh God, I really want to summon it as a goat, but it's fine. It's fine.
Are you sure? Because there's been a lot of been a lot of talk about how good Babam is. Rob over at Leopard's stream wants to somehow introduce it into the Salt Marsh campaign.
Oh God. Okay. You know what? Yeah, sure.
We need some branding on Babam.
Oh God. You know what? Yeah. No. Gotta summon it as a goat again. This time.
Remember your spell slot.
But I'm casting his ritual, so it's fine.
Yeah, when he casts it as a ritual, it doesn't cost a spell slot. It just takes an hour.
Yes, but then to reform it, it takes a spell slot, doesn't it?
Sure it does, but what's wrong with a goat?
Yeah,
You
it's
see
fine.
like your dragonling.
Goats are
no.
fine. Goats are fine.
Well, I'm not gonna summon a dragonling in the middle of a town that's afraid of dragons.
Yeah, that's
No, but
also a
true.
good point.
No, fair.
Yeah,
fair.
like
He's like,
I mean,
what other animal can produce milk?
oh my god.
Just goats.
Oh my god, what if you summoned it as a cow? And it looks like the other
Or
cow.
an elephant.
I don't think elephants do. I mean, I know they make
They're
milk. They're
mammals.
mammals. But like, how the fuck would you milk a goddamn elephant? Also, I'm
mean,
pretty sure that that's a higher CR than his familiar spell can summon. I'm honestly probably pushing it with the goat. If we're gonna be honest, I'm allowing it for comedy's sake. But
This is a small goat.
And bless you for your
it's a
charity.
pygmy goat. It's a pygmy goat.
Yeah, it's
Have
a
you ever seen
Nubian.
a little pygmy goat hopping? It's adorable.
Yeah, it's just a little Nubian.
I'm sorry, Kalis. We milk an elephant carefully, okay? Oh lord.
Anyway, Sives takes an hour and then magical shimmery goat appears and then turns into a normal goat and then probably looks very disturbed by its current form and it probably knows what's coming next.
Oh no. I'd make you roll animal handling, but it's your own familiar and you can tell it what to do, so it just has to grin and bear the milking.
Yes, you're very kind and very patient, and I promise this will be one of the last times ever. Probably. It's
Maybe.
One of the last times.
One of the first times ever. First times ever.
So you milk.
Can he roll for persuasion for the goat? Because I'm pretty sure that's not the truth.
Well, if it was a real goat, yes, he'd have to roll that, but it doesn't matter if he's telling the truth or not, because this is his familiar and it's under his direct command. So
Right, but the goat still doesn't have to believe him.
the goat probably doesn't believe him because it knows Sives better than anybody else. It's made from Sives' magic. It probably does not believe him because it's definitely not the goddamn truth.
Yeah,
They're going, you mean this form of me? This is going to be one of the last times. But the next time you summon me as a goat.
The next time, maybe it won't be a goat.
Possibly. Mostly when Sives is convincing, quote unquote, convincing the familiar, he's mainly just trying to dissuade their own guilt.
110%. Alright, so you milk the goat and you manage to procure 3 bottles of familiar's goat milk, which of course, if you do not lose them, will disappear either A, when your familiar vanishes, or B, in 24 hours.
Good job. Okay, you can be something else now if you want. Do you want that?
You're gonna have to use a spell slot to make it something else.
That's fine. Whatever makes the guilt go away. It's fine.
What do you change it into?
Let's see. What? That's a good question. Where do you want to be? Let's see. Cat, go with your novel route. We've already done dog. Goat is obviously out of the question. Let's see. How about... Wait, no, that would be dumb. That would be stupid. Let's see. And now Size appears to be having a internal conflict over what to turn their familiar into that's not a goat. I'll be right back. And then Sives tells the familiar to wait there, and then goes back to the inn, kind of pokes the head in, and calls over to the, Don Bella and Nibby. What's your favorite animal?
Lil.
Yeah, Lil's a pretty cool animal.
All right, fine. And then Size goes back to the familiar and says, all right, you're going to be a falcon.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
And does not at all comprehend how this could possibly go awry.
Oh no. Yes, Caliph, we are dorks. That is true. We are definitely
man.
dorks. You're welcome.
Oh
So
my God.
you use a spell slot and you turn your familiar into a falcon. It is a beautiful, pristine peregrine falcon with lovely markings and a nice little speckled chest and the curved raptor-like beak and those stabby talons. And it gives a call. Yeah! Or however it is falcons sound. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how falcon sounds. You're gonna have to.
Call.
Close enough.
That's a goddamn crow, Kathy.
Do you think Sives knows what a falcon makes?
No,
knows
but the
what sound this thing can make.
the familiar knows what sound a falcon can make, because the familiar is now, for all intents and purposes, until it vanishes, a falcon.
Pretty
Thank you,
much the
Kayla.
sound you made, but more like from low to high, lifting upward.
Eagle cry like, or something like that. That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing. Don't hear. You didn't hear that. It's nothing. Anywho, you have a falcon now. Yeah. And Rooney, Nyx has gifted you a pack of 12 normal arrows, much like you have yourself already, except you made yours and somebody else made these. And 4 very special looking arrows that look like they were made to pierce armor or very hard, tough hide or something. These are +1 arrows, and you only have 4 of them. So make them count, basically, is what I'm saying.
Unless you go in and buy more. I mean, feel free.
Yeah, they
These
are
are
kind.
gorgeous.
Yeah, they are kind of costly though. So it's about 5 gold for a pack of 4.
Is there? I was looking up other ones. Is there any chance they have like the flash arrows in the armory?
Let me look that up real quick for us.
I don't think that's what they're called, but I was looking them up. I literally just had it up and I put it away. Arrows for sale, Dungeons and Dragons. Varieties of 5e.
The flashbang arrow.
Yeah, and here it's listed as blinding arrows. Arrows with a small clay head with an opening inside containing a reactive chemical. On hit, the chemical releases a bright flash, blinding the target until the start of your next turn. Deals bludgeoning damage.
Do you go inside and look around?
Yeah.
Right.
I think Nyx profusely because
Okay.
oh my gosh, that's so sweet of you. Have like my heart. But also I kinda want to just have a peeky peek.
And Nick says, "Did you want me to take this back to the inn so you can do your shopping?"
I'm gonna bring them with me, so Rooney's gonna plop them right in her quiver because she's got all of
Okay.
her stuff on her.
Yep.
Okay.
Makes sense. All right, so you pop them in. Ruby is like, I'll wait around here until you get out. I've already done my looking. I'm gonna go watch the blacksmiths make things till you're done. She waddles over to join the children who are there on the kind of hill, and she's watching them pound away at stuff.
That also sounds very fun. But Rooney's gonna hop in and just kind of do a look see around in the armory.
All right, go ahead and roll me a perception check, or rather, an investigation check to see if you find the specific kind of arrow that you're looking for. All right, so you know arrows pretty well, considering your main form of hitting things is with arrows. So you find them. They appear to be not with the rest of the arrows, however. They appear to be in a special case near the right side of the store, near where the gentleman that Nyx had actually purchased all the items from is sitting on his stool. They, as well as several other different kinds of arrows, are behind sort of a glass door case with a little lock on it. And you find two of them, each of them sitting on two little hooks that are kind of hanging inside the case where a single arrow is placed on each.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty. So having found them, Rooney is like, ooh, that's very interesting. These could be great in in a situation where we need to distract something, or we are in a tight spot and I really need to get an extra an extra helping hand, and attempts to find the shopkeep.
Right, he is still sitting at his stool, and he's actually kind of leaning over it as you come over to him. He's a pretty gangly older gentleman, bushy eyebrows, long, bushy salt and pepper mustache. Looks like he used to have some muscle definition in his younger days, but now he's just got old, tan, leathery skin, and what was once muscle is now just kind of ropey flesh. And he peers down and he's like, "Some, something I can help you with, ma'am?"
Yes, I was looking at your variety of arrows, and I specifically was looking for blinding arrows, and it seems you might have a couple in this case over here. I was curious what their cost was.
Ah, yes. That'll be 20 gold piece for those. We only have the two. Just two at the moment.
Going in my little purse here.
Side note, everybody, please remember to mark down what gold you have been given when you are given it, because I will not remember later.
No, that's fine. I do. I promise. I have 78.
That was more for the party at large.
I'm worried that everything's gonna come back and get me. So I've been writing as much down as I can. All right. Bruni's going to purchase one of those.
Alrighty. The gentleman opens the case with a little key that was around his neck. Carefully, with calloused fingers, lifts one of the two blinding arrows off of its little hook round, and he's going to bring it over, and he's going to carefully wrap it in a bit of cloth to keep anything from happening to the little clay pot that's on the tip that causes the blinding to happen. And he's going to tie that around the stem with a little bit of twine and hand it to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to do
I like that little clink you did. It was a very good kind of foley there. All right, so she takes your gold and he gives you the arrow.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to.
No problem. You have a good day. Good day. Come back soon. Come back soon.
I'm gonna go meet up with Ruby, and then I think we should probably go find the rest of the party and continue on if we've done all that we need to do here in town.
Mm-hmm. All right, you come back outside and you find Ruby in conversation with one of the blacksmiths, but when she sees you, she cuts it short and kind of gives him a wave, and he waves back and goes back to his work. And then she's gonna meet up with you again. Oh, you think we're ready to go now?
I think I've done all of the shopping that I need to be doing. Spent 20 gold on a single arrow because it's just too pretty.
Was it at least a good arrow?
It's a great arrow. When you hit something, it makes a huge flash and it blinds them. It's strategic and it's graceful, and I love it.
Well, I guess you better hope that you actually hit it then with the arrow, or else it'll be a total loss.
That's just got to be close.
Oh, that's good.
Not too close to being at a disadvantage.
Yeah, well, you know. Rudy's in the honeymoon phase with this arrow, okay? There's nothing wrong it can do.
As Rooney is walking back towards the inn, start with Ruby starting to feel a little bit better about life, starting to like feel hope for the future with her 2 brand new arrows. There is a pop and a displacement of air, and then there's a warm, fluffy body pressed up against Rooney's side.
Aww. Yay!
And we're all hoping that it's Wessel and not a goat.
And she looks down, and it's the baby manticore. It's learned how to teleport. It's very proud of itself. No, it's Wessel the Weasel, you guys.
Wessel. Wesley Wessel. Oh, hey there, buddy. You've been gone too long.
He chitters very, very happily, and also a little bit, it seems like, you worriedly, and he's circling you, and he's sniffing you, and he's just curling up around you in tight little weaselly ferret circles, extremely overexcited to see you again.
And Rooney is equally overexcited to see him. She's giving belly rubs and squishing the head and giving the ear nuzzles.
And he breaks away briefly to arch his back and just do a dance on the ground where he's just flinging his body in all directions. His back end's going the opposite direction from his front end, and yet somehow they're still bent. It's weird, but he's like so happy, and then he just comes back again, and he just like nuzzles into you and just like trying to get underneath you so that you're on his back again. He's just like prancing.
Can't be close enough.
I'm so glad to have my buddy. It has been a bad day, bud. But we got some good arrows and you're back, and we're gonna go meet up with the party now. I'm gonna just gently lead him back to the place. Continue walking with Ruby.
Mm-hmm. Ruby kind of stood back for this whole demonstration, kind of with her hands up, like, whoa, I don't want to get hit with a weasel butt. But she seems actually kind of happy to see Wessel, too, just because, you know, things are a lot easier with Wessel around. She's not the only one getting hit when Wessel's around.
That's so true.
All right.
Really tanky for a weasel.
Very. All right, so has everybody accomplished everything that they want to do in the town?
Yep, pretty much, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah, and Sives walks back into the inn with a falcon on his hat. And Nib and Lil and Donabella see a falcon. And Lil is a tiny little goldfinch, so go ahead and play out that reaction.
Lil's just like, bird friend!
I think that maybe even Lil, as sheltered as Lil is, will have the common survival sense to know that a falcon is not a good thing for her.
Yes, she does. Lil kind of can a goldfinch shriek?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of does a shriek and like bombards herself like under the cloak with the manticore baby. Like that's safer at the moment. And kind of like just kind of rockets into the manticore baby's cloak area and is like, nope, nope, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah, because a falcon is totally safer than a baby fucking manticore.
Lil doesn't know what's in the cloak.
Honestly,
Wait,
yeah,
hold
Lil
on,
probably.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Lil knows what's in the cloak.
Okay.
But at the same time, Lil probably doesn't know what a manticore is because, quite honestly, the first time Lil ever saw a manticore was that one time in the woods with the 2 manticores who attacked you guys.
You're right. She doesn't know what the manticore is, so she went in.
Yeah. Alright, and Lil's got the brain of a sieve, so only pure instinct makes her know about that goddamn falcon. So anywho, yeah, you've got a goldfinch hiding inside a blanket with a baby manticore and a falcon on your hat, Sives.
Sives just watches this tiny ass songbird dive into the cloak and just, ha! Is she feeling alright?
A falcon can eat her.
Well, I don't know why it would eat anybody.
Oh, it's okay to be. That's just Master Sives' familiar. He won't eat Lil unless he tells him to.
Exactly.
We need to find Rooney. I can't speak to Lil. Lil, it's okay. She doesn't understand the words though. And just kind of like tries to peek in, like, trying not to scare Lil, but it's like, it's okay.
Considering it took an hour for Sives to do the primary summoning and then turn milk his goat and then turn his goat into a falcon, Rooney's probably walking in about this time for this conversation, along with Nyx and Ruby and everybody.
Here, let me try. Let's see. You're a bird. You should be able to speak bird. Why don't you tell the little bird you're not going to eat her? How about that?
So Rudy walks over and goes, "Oh, okay." I've got this.
Oh, good, because I don't actually know if my familiar knows how to speak bird, even though they are a bird. I've never really asked, you know.
Rudy is going to just kind of go, all right, and then go over to the cloak where Lil is and say, Lil, this
I am blanket. I am blanket. I am not little. I am blanket.
So Ox friend is big, yes?
Ox is friend, yes.
Ox is friend. So this bird is our friend. This falcon is our friend. This is Master Sive's friend.
Danger bird.
Typically,
danger bird.
Typically, yes, but Nibby safe. So can you stay on Nibby and Nibby keep you safe?
Danger bird eat Nibby?
No. Lil and Nibby safe, even when Danger Bird is with us.
Lil's trying to compute this. Lil's like, Danger Bird, not danger.
Not with...
Roll persuasion. Roll persuasion, Rooney.
No, I'm bad at that one.
You're trying to persuade a tiny little goldfinch that their natural enemy isn't gonna eat them. Okay, that's pretty decent. Lil, roll me a wisdom for Lil, which is basically just roll me a d20. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, Lil, you're not so sure about that, but at the same time, Rooney has never lied to you, and Rooney makes sense a little bit because Lil has always been safe with Nibby. So maybe it will be okay, but you're probably not going to be happy about it for a while.
So Lil kind of like peeks her head out and like looks over at the falcon and like ducks back in and then kind of like looks back out again like, okay, and like looks up at Nibby like, okay, Nibby's there. Can I get up to Nibby without the falcon seeing me? And then like hurries and like jumps up when like you just see like this little bird like hop and flap like crazy while it hops up on Nibby's shoulder and like hides in his collar and like sits there and is like safe. Okay, didn't see me. And the whole time like the falcon's just staring at him like I totally see you. You're an idiot. But
Yeah, with that one giant eye, pupil dialing in on every single movement. Like,
but Lil thinks
tasty.
she is like the stealthiest thing right now.
I am Ninja Bird.
Ninja Bird. And I am safe sort of underneath Nibby's collar. It's kind of like as close to Nibby as possible. Under the collar, just like looking around.
I'd like to request this for our next GIF. Lil as a Ninja Bird.
Ninja Bird, okay.
I desire this to be our new GIF. Ninja Bird Lil. Okay. Alright, anywho, yeah. Unless you tell it to, Sives, your falcon isn't going to try to eat Lil, but obviously, you know, nature and shit. But,
Sives doesn't even understand why Lil is scared of the falcon. They're both birds. I don't get it. Because Sives doesn't know that much about nature.
Yeah, your focus of research has always been monsters, not like normal things. Like farm animals or poultry or birds or like whatever.
Yeah. So Sives is just overwhelmingly confused. And just so obviously they're not going to tell the falcon to attack Lil. Just like, okay, well, Lil's obviously scared of something. Probably you, maybe you. I don't understand why, but why don't you go ahead and keep an eye out for Lil and make sure nothing, bad happens. How about that? That should earn some trust. Just watch her as closely as possible.
This is gonna be a long trip.
That's a good comedian. Okay, let's move on.
All right, then are we ready to go then? Says Ruby, who's just been watching all of this.
Oh, right. Should we dole out our berry rations for the day before we go?
I think they're in the carts, aren't they? Barthelin said he was going to load them up for us for the trip.
Oh, right. Good. Let's go to the cart.
All right.
So we're gonna start heading over to Barthen.
Mm-hmm. Everybody headed that way, or is anybody stopping to do anything else first?
Sives going straight to the cart because they need to make a ba-bam.
Oh no. Yeah, all right. So you guys make your way up to Barthen's. He had told you before that whenever you're ready, the cart would be set up in the back. You just had to hook your ox up to it. It's your regular cart from before. It's just loaded with a lot more supplies than usual because they're all for the logging camp. It is loaded enough that while your ox will not have trouble pulling it, nobody's going to be able to ride in it at the moment. Because it is full of supplies for the logging camp.
Y'all took full rests, right? Long rests?
Oh yeah, you guys slept not just the night, you probably slept for about 12 hours. You went to sleep mid-afternoon after a fight with a dragon and slept all through the night till the next morning.
Okay.
Everybody has a long rest. Sives is the only one missing spell slots at the moment because he changed his goat into a falcon.
And it's only one, and it's only a level 1 one.
I just looked at my spells, and I did cast Good Berry last time before sleep. So we do have 10 more good berries that are good for a day.
Excellent. It's not like anybody will be using those for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Yep, nope, just, having them around.
Yep. All right, so you make your way to Barthen's, and you find your cart all set up in the back. Ruby sets about to get the ox who had been turned out from the stable after the morning stable hands got up and started taking care of the animals and whatnot. He'd been in the field, but she leads him over to the cart, and he's still got that bell on his horn, and it tingle, tingle, tingles in the in memory of poor Petunia, the slain cow.
Mhm.
All our Valor has in memory of Petunia.
F's in
Anywho,
the chat. F's in the chat.
say what?
Also, Lil is really torn between tinging the bell and being ninja.
We may have to roll will saving throws to find out which one happens.
But she is
Anywho.
like, I am protecting Nibby. I protect.
All right,
Ready
so
for war.
you got the ox set up. Rooney knows the way to the logging camp because it's literally in the Neverwinter Woods where you live. So you have the map already that you got from last time at Barthen's. You got the whole big map. And
Also can't get lost in the woods.
yeah, also it's your favorite terrain. You can't get lost in the woods. But you have the map and you know exactly where the logging camp is and which paths to take through the woods to get there. So you're all set, unless you guys want to do something before leaving town.
Nope.
So just to clarify,
Mm-hmm.
we know where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We have food,
You do.
Mhm.
not just for us, but for little Manticore baby.
Yep. You got plenty of goat milk and rabbit broth in the pail of colding. Although you may have to get some more rabbits along the way because you have less rabbit broth than you do goat milk, and you have to mix equal of both.
But we do have like cooking supplies and things so that if we do come across rabbits or whatever, we can turn them to broth.
We have our weapons and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You have a
Every
cart full
time-
of supplies.
Every time Aaron asks, I start thinking, are we missing something obvious?
No, I'm just
Did
giving
we
you the
leave somebody
opportunity.
in the air?
See, there's this thing that some DMs do that I am trying to make sure that I not do since it's my first time really DMing like a full campaign. I've tried a couple of others, but as Kathy knows from a couple of them, they've kind of died off a little bit sometimes, maybe, possibly. But this is the first one that I've had that's gone on for so long. I'm trying to not do this thing called railroading, which is what some DMs do, where they want you to follow a series of steps and they kind of make you go do those things. I'm giving you I'm trying to make sure that I give everybody an opportunity if there was something else that they wanted to be doing, that they are able to voice that their character wants to do that thing.
Does anybody need to go to the Target? Stop by McDonald's?
Bathroom break.
Bathroom break?
Visit Bye Bye Baby.
Go to the Wawa? I
Big
don't
deal
know.
baby sale.
Pick up a stroller for the Manticore baby.
That would be so helpful. Like one of the ones that I got for the kitties, where it's like a carrier, and then you put it into the stroller, and so they're like in there and they can't escape.
I'm sorry, back up. Kathy, do you put your cats in a fucking cat stroller?
You try to carry 40 pounds of cats into the vet's office.
Okay, yeah, your cats are big. I will give you that.
A stroller helps. They're heavy.
My mom loves chihuahuas, and I just had a mental image of my mother pushing her chihuahua around in like a dog stroller, and I internally died a little. So,
God.
Off topic, but the facility which I work at, which I do not speak for the name or the company of, at one point in time when I was working in the department which sold things like strollers and such, we had a guest come in who had a giant Flemish rabbit, literally the size of a toddler, that they were looking for a double stroller for so that the Flemish rabbit could ride in the bottom in the cargo compartment and their soon to be born child could ride in the top. Her name was Miss Flopsy. She was a service rabbit, and I miss her every day. She has since passed on in this life, but we salute you, Miss Flopsy.
F's in the chat.
Also, when you first said Miss Flopsy, I was like, he named the child Miss Flopsy?
Wait, what are
And then
you
I was like,
saying, Rooney? You keep saying F in chat. I don't understand.
It's a thing where like if
Have to pay
somebody
respect.
dies in game, then you do F's in the chat for like remembrance.
F to pay
Yeah,
Oh.
respects.
it's from a Solid Snake game. You gotta press F to pay respects during cutscene.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a meme.
I think I had to play the game to get that, probably. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's been memed a lot on streams, which is why I was like, F in the chat.
Oh, okay. All right, that
In
makes more
death
sense
moments,
now.
you F in the chat to pay respects. I don't know.
I'm the kind of
We're
dork
down
who's-
with the kids, Aaron. We are
Yeah.
we are hip.
Look, man, I'm not a
We're all-
first-person shooter kind of game. That's for people with actual hand-eye coordination. All I'm good at is telling a story occasionally.
None of us are old people, right? Right?
Thanks for the compliment.
Anywho, y'all get the
Get it.
cart together, and the ox is all hooked up, looking mighty fine, ready to ride out. And
Leave town.
you see Barthen wave at you from the window of his shop as you head out. And he calls out, "Do be safe out there." And you guys exit out town, where you see in the field, still not thawed out from yesterday. There's a couple of spires of ice that the ice dragon had caused when he used his breath upon you. Yeah, you pass those. The Ark goes waddling by with his cart. Everybody except for Rooney currently on foot, because Rooney's got a Wessel to ride on.
Yeah, she's gonna take this opportunity to ride Wessel because she missed her good boy. But if anyone would like to ride Wessel,
I don't
that
think
is-
anybody's the right size to ride Wessel except for
No,
you, Rooney.
not even like Nibby the
No.
halfling.
Nibby the halfling is actually larger than you. Yeah.
Just Lil, but Lil is ninja now.
Yeah.
Fair.
Also, Nyx is holding the Manticore baby, so I'm just throwing that out there.
That's probably best. If Nibby was holding the Manticore baby, he would probably not be as fast as he can currently walk and would eventually get a point of exhaustion. Nyx is a bit stronger than Nibby. And if Nyx needs to pass it off, she can hand it to Ruby, because Ruby is the muscle of the group. Alright, so you guys are going to head out of the town onto the open road, as it were. Da-da-da, da-da-da. And you guys are headed for the Triboard Trail. So why don't you all, anybody who's looking around at things, make perception checks as we begin our journey.
Yay!
Yay.
Okay, hold on a second. I need to click on Nibby before clicking the Hootie What's It.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
I'm remembering
Wait,
things.
for what?
That's for initiative, dear. You have to click on Nibby before you roll initiative for him.
Did I do perception for Nibby? I don't know
You
if
did.
it blooped. Okay.
Everybody
I didn't hear a
has
bloop.
perception.
I didn't know. Okay, cool.
Oh dang, Kat, you didn't do so great on perceptions today.
I'm holding a Manticore baby, okay? I'm a
Okay.
little busy at the moment.
And Sives, you get to roll for your falcon. I'm
that's
gonna
right.
let you roll with advantage on that one because it's a fucking falcon, and they have really good eyesight, which is good apparently, considering.
At least for a distance. I'm not sure about close up.
I think falcons have really good. I think falcons have really good eyesight, if I'm not mistaken, close up and far away. They have one of
Okay.
those little telescoping eye things that can like zoom in and out.
Yeah.
Well, either way, Size would have the falcon, flying kind of
Yeah.
up above the canopy and below it, kind of dipping up and down.
Yep.
To make sure they're like checking a lot.
All right.
But
So-
also, you said that you told it to watch Lil, so it's kind of having trouble doing both.
Yes. So
We're not friends.
So as you guys are walking along, you don't notice anything untoward at the moment. You, Nyx, since you're carrying a manticore baby and you're paying more attention to it, who has gotten squirmy as it's woken up from its post food nap. It's gotten a bit squirmy. You kind of wrapped it in a cloak and like put it on your back, so it's like a little baby hammock, but for a manticore, and it's poking its head out and kind of, meowing at things, swiping at air, all that kind of fun stuff. Um, you stumble a little bit. You don't fall or anything, but you are having a little bit of a harder time walking with a manticore on your back than you thought you were going to be. Um, and everybody else, it's a sunny day. There's a couple of clouds in the sky, but they're the light wispy ones that are further up. It's mostly sunny out. Very nice, a very nice contrast from the lovely dreams you all were having last night. Um, and you see a couple animals here or there. There's some squirrels that are arguing in a tree at one point as you pass through the lightly wooded area outside of Phandalin, headed for the Tribor Trail. And at one point, your falcon, Sives, does dip down pretty low towards the tree line as though eyeing something very intently. And when you turn your own eyes over in that direction, you do notice for like the briefest of moments that you think you see a kind of reptilian tail that's kind of slipping through the bushes close to the road, but it seems to be darting away from the road. And it's
Is it bad? The first thing that I thought about was, oh, good, it's not the boar. But then I was like, wait, could be a dragon. That might also be bad.
Side just goes, huh.
You don't have to roll for it. Wait, no, that's the same one. Okay, yeah, yeah, it was a blue reptilian tail.
Yes, I was just goes, ha! That's odd. Either we're being hunted or we're being watched by neutral party / friends. I don't know. I like to imagine them as friends, considering our last meeting, possibly. Assuming it's the same ones. I don't know. Sash just gives a meek wave to the bushes, to the forest, in no particular direction because it doesn't actually know where they are.
What are you talking about, Sives?
Ah, I think kobolds. I'm not quite sure. And then just points towards the forest ever so casually.
So Nibby and Nyx are gonna kind of take a closer look. Well, not go closer, but like look over in that direction. Like where are they? Where?
All right. If Sives is pointing out a direction, you can make an additional perception check to try and like examine a little bit closer, see if you see anything of import. If you're looking over there.
Let me guess, nothing.
Nope.
Nibby see nothing.
Nibby looks in completely the wrong direction and stares into the sun.
I don't see anything. It's too bright out here.
You get blinded for like a second.
Rooney also looks over and directs Wessel to.
All right, so Nyx and Rooney, you look over in that area, and while you don't see any sign of kobolds that Sive had mentioned, you do notice that some of the branches on a bush near the edge where he had kind of pointed do seem to be bent in a way that would indicate that something had just passed through there.
Well, something's definitely nearby, but we should keep our eyes and ears open and move forward.
Sounds good to me. And Rooney is going to grip her hammer tight in one hand, and she's still holding the ox's lead reins in the other. And Donabella is going to kind of grip her staff tight, and she's going to kind of just for the flavor of it, she's gonna reach up and tap the little horn on top of her brand new hat, and it's going to start glowing with a light spell. I'm ready, she says.
Yes, you are, dear.
I love that.
Are you gonna? Yes, the Manticore baby can walk in the same way that a very wobbly kitten who isn't sure how to use their feet can walk. You know, not very well. And I'd say currently it's about the size of a Maine Coon cat, like a fully grown Maine Coon cat, so proportion the neck appropriately.
Okay. Because I was just thinking of how to make like a leash
Like it's
and
a
a collar.
yeah, like
But,
it's a big fucking cat, but it's not like it's still
well,
a
I mean,
baby
cat necks
manticore.
are fairly little compared to like their body, but if he's wobbly, then it's not going to work. So never mind.
Yeah, no, he's not at the point where he could walk behind you on a leash or anything, and
Because
he
I'm
will
just thinking of
probably
Nick's putting
not
him on
be
the ground,
there.
being like, "Fine, then you can walk."
Yeah, no. He's a wiggly little sucker because he's awake right now, but he'll probably go back to sleep in a couple of hours. You just have to kind of deal with it until then. Because he's a baby. He doesn't want to be cooped up. He wants to, like, move around and wiggle.
Yeah.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I
Mhm.
got a cat who does that. Wiggle, 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 wiggle all the time. Always into the trouble. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about your brother.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. So you guys are stopping to investigate more, or are you continuing on? What you guys doing? What you guys doing?
Continuing and being very, very perceptive.
Okie dokie. You can keep the same perception rolls you did last time, so we don't have to do them again, because this is pretty much for the journey for the next couple of hours. So you keep walking along. You don't see any more signs of any kobolds. You see some more signs of animals in the area, which kind of relaxes you, Rooney, because you know if there's animals in the area, there's probably not danger unless it's animal related danger. So that's kind of soothing to you. And you hit the Charboard Trail after about an hour or two of walking from Phandalin, and you start to head to the northeast along it, coming closer to the Neverwinter Wood. You know that you're not quite near the path that's going to take you off of it yet, and you probably won't be for another 3-ish hours or so. But you'll get there eventually. And
Are we gonna pass through Rat Town again?
no, you do not need to go to Combberry.
Good.
You're going to be
I
turning
don't
off
like
the
Rat
path
Town.
way before Combberry. The logging camp is
Good.
far closer than Butterskull Ranch was. It just happens to be through the woods instead of along a path.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
so that's something that Sives asks is refresh my mind. Donabella, you have the quest information, correct? You were taking notes, I do believe. I hope.
Oh, yes, of course, Master Sives. And she thumbs through the book again and she opens it up.
What exactly are we in for? I forget.
Oh, he just wants us to deliver supplies to the logging camp in the Neverwinter Woods. That's near one of the major rivers. They make logs there, and then they send them along the river, and eventually they get to Neverwinter, and they do stuff with them in Neverwinter. Log stuff, she whispers as if it's some great secret. But they have been having trouble getting supplies to the loggers' camp, and they're running out of supplies. And people keep attacking the convoys with the supplies. They think it's orcs.
Huh?
But also maybe kobolds. Or goblins. Or animals. Or boars. Or, and she kind of goes on and
Not
keeps
boars.
listing things
Not
that you
boars.
find in the cars.
Not boars. Let's okay, let's just go. Let's just keep going. We'll be fine. We're all aware. We know what's going on. We're ready.
and Nyx is thinking, if it is orcs, then we might be able to convince the kobolds to help us.
Possibly. We
But
should
if
find
it's
out.
the kobolds, then we probably wouldn't want to tell them because they might attack us.
Well, I think we're probably going to be able to have a little bit of a better conversation with the kobolds this time around, considering we don't have somebody wearing a belt of their skin. Says Ruby, kind of chuckling, kind of nervously.
And Nyx
Yes,
thinks,
right.
good point.
Yes, this time I won't get frazzled for trying to hide it.
Hmm.
Wait a minute, I don't even know if Nyx knew about it. I don't think Nyx knew, right? I think she failed that perception check.
Yeah.
She failed that one, yeah.
Yeah, so Size knew,
Surprise, surprise.
and then Rooney figured it out. But I don't think Nyx knew. No.
Yeah, Nyx never knew about it, and neither did Nibby.
So they're both just equally lost, but they're like, all right, whatever. We're lost a lot of the times now.
Donabella, Ruby, Rooney, and what's it called?
Ives?
Sives all knew.
Yeah.
They all knew
Alright.
about it. Rooney because she noticed it, and Ruby, Donabella, and Sives because they were there when it happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, you guys make it along the Tribor Trail all the way to the point where Rooney knows that you have to turn off the main trail and go down one of the side trails in order to go into the actual Neverwinter Woods. This trail is not as well packed as the Tribor Trail is. It's a little bit more overgrown, but you do see recent wagon wheel ruts that are running along the trail. Not that far, Sives, Jesus Christ. That are running.
Misty stepped right to the other side of the woods.
Sias
Remember
said,
when
fuck this,
Sias
I'll be a
Misty
dragon
said-
now. Turned himself into a dragon and just flew over there. Everybody else stared flabbergasted. And they're like, oh, no wonder he's so weird and bad at social cues. He was secretly a dragon the whole entire time. Makes sense.
God, I wish.
Man, we would all believe that before anyone would believe that he was dead. Just another trick up your sleeve, Sims.
I don't know what you mean.
Hey. What is roughly the location on the big map? Because I know that it's not.
It's actually kind of where Lil's head is right now.
Okay, like
But
here.
right there, yeah. That's where the trail kind of splits off and starts heading north.
tiny dot right there by Lil's head. I guess that's the trail.
So, you guys turn off the trail and start heading into the woods. And you can go ahead and roll me some more perception checks for this part.
I also just started the song Into the Woods in my brain when you said that.
So depending on how
It's very
thick the
similar,
woods
yes.
are, depending on how thick the woods are and how much of a closed canopy there is, Sives will probably have their familiar flying under the canopies and just like hopping from branch to branch, maybe.
So as you first enter the trees, it's going to be smaller ones, sparser ones, because this is the new part of the forest. Holy fuck. But as you go deeper into it, you will be experiencing the taller, older trees, and the Neverwinter Woods is very old.
Mm-hmm.
Old.
Very old.
Also, surprise, surprise, Nyx sees nothing.
Yeah, well, you're dealing with a manticore, baby.
Sive sees all.
Donabella and Ruby are doing pretty good today, too.
Hmm. Gotta be a shame when we used up all our good rolls and now we're gonna have nothing for the fight.
So yeah, Nyx once again is barely making her way along in this forest. She's tripping over every odd stone that's in the pathway. She's stumbling over some roots. She has to grab the cart every once in a while for balance, and the baby manticore keeps throwing her off balance. Eventually, it mules to signal that it's hungry, so now you're walking and feeding a baby at the same time. It's fantastic. Also, roll me an animal handling check for feeding the baby this time.
Okay. Nibby's probably going to try to help if he can, but
Sure,
we'll see.
he can take the help action and see if he can. Oh, okay. Between the two of you, so it starts
Mostly
out.
Nibby.
Yeah, it starts out pretty bad with you dropping the baby, but Nibby catching it, and you almost getting stung with the scorpion tail, which would have been really bad because the venom in the younger ones is always more potent than the venom in the older ones.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So you manage to catch. Nibby manages to catch the scorpion, and he's like, "Come on, Nix, be careful. It's a baby." And then he takes the water skin from you, and he walks along feeding it while you try to collect yourself. Um, and while all that is happening, Rudy and Wessel, while they are really familiar with this area, they're kind of concentrating on making sure that everybody stays on the trail okay and that there's nothing up ahead that happened in like a storm or something since they last passed through that might be blocking their path. Um, so they're more concentrating on the journey and not on anything that might be surrounding them, just because it's in the woods now. So it's a little bit tougher going for the ox, even if they are on a trail for a cart. Nibby, who was seeing things pretty well for a bit, kind of is now distracted feeding a manticore baby, so he didn't see anything for the first hour or so. And Sives, you see everything. Everything.
Yes,
Which means about 5 seconds before Donabella and Ruby notice it, you see the telltale blue sparks as a boar emerges from the undergrowth to stand in the middle of the road facing the party as they approach with the ox and cart. And Ruby, as soon as she sees it, pulls the ox to a halt, and Donabella stops too.
To which Sives is gonna point straight at it and say, "Hey, you dreamed about a boar, didn't you, Rooney? Look, there's a boar."
Rooney, so Rooney has now hit fight, flight, or freeze. And she froze.
I would like to note that this boar does not look exactly like the boar that you saw in your dreams. Now that Sives has pointed out, you can see the boar too. It is black, and it does have some markings on it, kind of around its legs, but it is significantly smaller than the boar of your dreams, which was massive. We're talking like an elephant-sized boar. This boar is the normal size of a normal boar.
Which is still
And
pretty big for a Rooney.
But this is a blue lightning boar.
Well, only Sives saw the blue lightning.
Okay.
You do see blue markings on its legs, though, but they are not lightning.
Nope. Rooney's triggered. We've hit freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze. She's frozen. Pure fear.
What should we do?
Nibby's still holding the baby, right?
Yeah, Nibby's still holding the baby, unless he gives it back to Nyx.
Okay, so Nyx just kind of asks the boar because, why not? Can we help you with something? Because she's like, hey, I talked to Wessel in my dream. I don't know. Maybe I can speak to animals now. Who knows what's going on?
Does Size recognize the boar? Is this the one that kicked his ass?
Roll me an insight check.
Because if it is,
then asking it if it needs help is like a trigger, not a.
Nope, it's just a boar.
You don't think it's the same boar? You're not really sure because every boar
I
looks
saw the
alike.
boar the first time, though, right?
What are the odds? What are the odds it's the same boar, right? If there's lots of boars in the forest, it's fine.
Boars in the forest with blue marks on their legs.
Yeah, it's probably never what you think.
Rudy, you know it's not a fucking Neverwinter thing.
It's not a Neverwinter thing. It's not a Neverwinter thing. This isn't a Neverwinter thing. This is a me thing, isn't it?
Are you okay? You seem
Alrighty,
stressed.
Are you okay? Says Donabella.
No, I'm cursed and there's a boar.
Do you want me to throw fire at it? Says Donabella.
Make it worse.
Nyx kind of stands in front of Rooney a little bit to kind of like be a wall between her and the boar, and is basically saying a little bit more strongly, "We would like to pass. Please allow us to pass."
Roll me a persuasion check. The boar snorts and paws the ground with one hoof.
It'd be very nice of you if you did let us pass. I agree with her. That'd be very nice indeed.
Persuasion check, Size.
Ah, that's better than I thought.
Boar tilts its head to one side, and it starts to walk a couple of paces closer.
Okay, then Nyx says a little bit more sternly, "Please move."
Maybe it's hungry. What do balls eat?
Are you trying to intimidate it next?
I guess. I don't know.
Roll me-
Or
roll-
I'm persuading it more strongly.
You're intimidating it. Roll me an intimidation check.
I'm at least a little bit more intimidating than I am persuading.
Oh dear. Okay. Alright. So the boar gives another snort and kind of lowers its head and looks at Nyx and kind of paws the ground a little bit more forcefully. I don't think it liked that very much, but it does not charge. It kind of keeps walking towards you, but it's starting to move to one side of the road now.
Which side is it headed towards?
It is headed towards the right side of the road now, as if to go past the cart on that side of the road.
And so then Nyx says, "Thank you." And they kind of trying to start going around the other side of the road.
And as they draw level with the cart, if nobody else does anything, the boar is going to abruptly stop, turn and face the cart, and sit down in the road and just watch everyone as they go past.
Yeah. Nah, there's just Size gives a tiny little wave. Goodbye. And then turns the face forward.
Nyx kind of keeps watching the boar and making sure everybody passes it, and kind of stays at the back a little bit there to
By the
make
way,
sure.
Rudy Wessel's basically a ball of arching fluff at this point. You're not sure
Yeah,
whether
I
he is responding to you or just he really doesn't like this boar, but he is not happy with the sight of the boar.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you because it seems like Wessel has some sort of
Wessel's not
spiritual
happy about the boar.
something. Yeah,
He's
okay.
less happy about the boar than you are.
Is he not happy in like a fight stance, or is he
Yes.
less happy in like a fear stance?
He's in a fight stance.
Baller.
He's
Okay.
not attacking it, but is definitely aggressive towards it.
Okay. Rooney's going to kind of slowly snap out of the freeze and just kind of start like gently petting Wessel's head and coaxing him to continue with the group and saying, we should go. We should go. We should go. We're gonna go.
Yes, that's probably a good idea.
You
And
guys,
then inching further in.
you guys make your way past the boar. No head's sitting. It just sits there, stares at you as you slowly go by it, and its eyes lock briefly upon you, Size, before you turn around and kind of duck your head, and before it turns its attention back to Nyx, and then finally to Rooney. Its gaze boring into the back of Rooney's head as you guys keep on walking down the road. Good day.
I
Good day.
said good day.
Say what?
Just internally screaming and sweating.
And everybody roll one more perception check for me.
Oh, goody. I love it when the DM says that.
Oh, good.
Way to go, Nibby.
I'm
I
sorry.
think almost everybody's good right now. Everybody's seeing what they need to see.
Everybody but Cyrus's falcon notices it, but
He's still looking at the Lil, trying to be
Yeah.
like, I'm still looking. This is really hard to look at more things than one.
Doing my
I'm
job.
not a chameleon. I cannot look in two directions.
maybe next time we can be a chameleon.
Oh, thank you for that idea.
But yeah, so you guys make it past no problem, and kind of steal a couple of glances behind you at the boar, and Nippy's the first one to notice it. But after you're about like 20 feet or so down the road, there's another boar. It comes out of the brush to the side of the pathway to stand next to the seated boar who's still watching you. And then Sives, you see a third boar come out and join the other two. And Rooney and Wessel, you notice a fourth boar and a fifth boar. And Nix, you notice a sixth boar. And there is now a pack of boars on the road about 50 feet behind you. Only one of them has blue marks on its legs, but there's a lot of boars behind you. And they've
goody.
started to follow the cart.
It has babies.
Can
Isn't
we
that
do-
nice? Sorry.
Good night.
So
Can we
I'm
see if
gonna-
any of them are magical or if it's just the one?
You can roll an Arcana check. Rudy, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, if I nature check, can we like get an idea of like relation? Oh my gosh!
And yes, you can roll a nature check.
I take mine back, but like goodness gracious, y'all.
You have advantage on the nature check because this is your favorite terrain. So 21. So Nyx, you do sense magic, but only from one of them. Only from the one with the blue markings. And the same magic that you feel is the same magic you felt from the last one and from Rooney a couple of days ago. And
But that's a known fact though, right? That the shocky magic that Rooney had is the same shocky magic the shocky boar has, right?
that's what
Yeah.
you had summarized the last time the
Okay.
last time you saw one of these guys and felt the magic. So it feels like the same magic again. It does not feel like the same boar, but it feels like the same magic that they use. And Nibby also kind of senses the same thing. Rooney, you notice nature-wise that the other boars tend to seem to be slightly smaller than the original one that came onto the road, but still about the same size as regular normal boars would be, and they are behaving more in a boar kind of manner, other than the fact that they appear to be following the cart. A couple of them break off every once in a while to kind of root around at the side of the road as if looking for something to eat before rejoining the rest of them, which seem to be following the boar with the blue markings down the road as they trail behind your cart, keeping about a distance of 30 feet, not approaching, but following.
We're fine.
Does Nyx
scary.
notice them getting distracted from time to time?
No, you were focusing on finding the arcade nature of
Okay.
these creatures, and whereas Rooney was focusing on trying to tell if they were natural.
So Rooney is scared. So she's gonna keep an eye on the boars, and as they come and go, she'll probably be telling the group while trying to keep an eye. And also like gently coaxing Wessel to continue forward with the group instead of being angry at said boars.
Nyx says, continue on. I'll catch up in a moment. And stops and lets the cart kind of keep going and is kind of waiting for the boars to kind of reach her. So she kind of stops for a moment.
Well, you know that's not gonna fly with me. So Rooney stops the second she sees Nick stop.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have a plan. Go ahead.
Are you sure about this, lass? Ruby's kind of looking over her shoulder, hesitating a bit, too.
Nibby isn't too fond of this either, but Nyx is like, yes, go ahead.
I don't know if that's such a good idea, says Donabella.
I mean, I don't know how persuasive I can be.
What is this, stealth?
Rooney is going to stealth so that Nyx can't see her staying with her.
Perception, Nyx.
I mean, she's probably not too good at it.
Yeah, you don't notice that Rooney's there. Rooney and Wessel meld into the shadows of the road, because you're looking at the boars, so you don't notice that they have kind of flipped off to the side. So Nyx sounds fairly convinced that she should be able to take care of whatever this is. And Donabella kind of looks to Stives for clarification, because regardless of what Nyx sounds like, Donabella pretty much just follows Stives' lead on things.
Yeah, well, Size is convinced, and even if she does die, then Size can probably do something about it, so it's fine. Size just keeps going.
And Ruby's frowning, her brow furrowed a little bit, but eventually, after much hesitation, she starts walking again with the cart and the ox, but she's casting frequent glances over her shoulder. Come on, Nibby, come away from there. You got the babe, and we don't want anything to happen to the little thing, right?
Okay, Miss Nyx, be careful.
Alright, so...
And Nyx is really hoping that this is a good idea. But she also knows that she needs to make sure nothing happens to the rest of the group. She doesn't know what these boars are going to do. So she's hoping to at least kind of slow them down and maybe lose track of the group. So she is holding back for the moment.
Alright, so the cart continues on without you, and as far as you know, you're there by yourself. The boars continue up the road without pausing. The one with the strange markings around its hooves, in the front of the little herd of them, as the rest kind of clomp and mill along behind. A couple of them occasionally, stopping to rout at the ground for worms and whatnot, as boars will do. But the one with the blue markings stays steadily clomping forward, its eyes now currently trained upon you, since you are in the center of the road. And it draws to a halt about 2 feet away from you.
May I ask why you're following us?
The boar stares at you and does not make any kind of sound or speech, while the rest of the boars kind of spread out across the road in sort of a half crescent. Very rough half crescent.
Do you intend to cause us harm?
Again, there's no answer to your inquiry. The boar is merely staring at you, but it does lift one hoof and dig it into the ground, a couple of blue sparks dancing off of it as it digs a bit of a furrow out of the dirt.
Ah.
So Nyx is kind of trying to take her time here a little bit, trying to let the cart get further away. And she says, "No, let me think. What should she say?"
Just quick distance question.
Mm-hmm.
How far is Rooney from the
Where did you
blue
hide?
hard boar?
Where did you hide?
So I don't know how far back Nyx was from the cart when she initially made the decision to stop, but the second that Rooney saw that, she said, "Nope, bad idea." And Nyx was like, "No, it's fine, it's cool, just go." That's when she stealthed.
The cart
So
is now
whatever the distance was.
Yeah, the cart is now 50 feet from Nyx, as well as anybody who went along with the cart. You yourself are probably about 20 feet from Nyx, depending on where you tried to hide.
Okay. And then what is considered long range?
You mean like what can your bow not reach? I believe you've got like
Yeah.
120 to 200 yards on it, don't you?
I think mine. I
Or
think
feet.
it's one. I think it's 150. But I meant like what is considered the like too short of a range.
Oh,
Is it like 5 or 10 feet or something?
no, for a bow it's probably like 20 feet.
Okay, so I'm like 20 feet
Or
away
10
from
feet,
the
sorry,
thing.
10
right?
feet, 10 feet.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So Nyx basically says, like, "I can sense your magic. I just want to know why you're following us. Is there anything you can tell me?" Again, just trying to kind of stall at the moment.
So the boar is going to plant its hooves, lift its head, rear it back, and let out a long, piercing squeal that everyone can hear, even those still with the cart. And upon doing that, the rest of the boars are going to respond in kind and proceed to charge forward, not really at Nyx in particular, but they are charging along the road. So Nyx, I'm going to need you to make a dexterity check.
Okay.
Or rather,
Also,
dexterity
little side
saving throw.
note, I have been preparing to do expeditious retreat. Just giving you a heads up.
Great. You need to do something like that next time, but before you just say
Sure.
that you're going to be doing it. But okay, I will allow it this time. Right,
Sorry, that I was having that in my brain and
Mhm.
we hadn't gotten to the point yet, so sorry.
Okie dokie. With a dexterity save of 20, you manage to dodge some of the boars that are barreling towards you. They're not really aiming for you so much as they are spooked by this long, loud squeal, and they're now charging kind of up the road, a few of them scattering to the woods after passing you, a few of them continuing on for a bit before like meandering off. But in the process of them charging and the amount of dust that it raised up, you, Nyx, and you, Rudy, lost sight of the main boar. And when you stare at the place in the road where they were, they're gone.
Terrifying.
And so Nyx looks back at the cart to make sure that it didn't get past her.
Nope, you don't see that boar anywhere, just regular ones. Which are now behaving more like regular boars do and kind of spreading out and eating things on the side of the road.
So
They're
Nyx kind
aggro,
of
though, right?
What did you say, Renee?
I said the boars aren't just like spooked and attacking. They're just kind of got spooked and then now they're like dispersed comfortably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, boars still aren't exactly the safest creatures to be around if they decide that they want to hurt something, but these ones don't appear to be aggressive right this very minute.
Copy. Okay. So, I don't know if you saw, but Wessel had continued on with the cart. It was only Rooney who stealthed. While Cat was talking to the boar, Rooney readied her longbow on the blue marked boar, but after the dust settled, the boar was gone. So she's gonna put her bow away, come out of stealth, and go, Nix, please don't do
And
that again. We should go.
Nyx just kind of looks like, I asked you to go. Fine, all right. And just kind of looks around to make sure that she doesn't see anything else. And just kind of continues. And it's like, I had a plan.
We all know that Rooney is like, no, these be friends. I be in danger now.
Oh boy. Well, anyway, you guys continue up the road trying to catch up with the cart, which after that squeal, Ruby had stopped the ox again and kind of like gripped her hammer and was ready to go back before she saw you guys weren't actually in any danger at the moment. But you guys continue on up the road, and it's been about half a day's travel, and you started out at about noon to 1ish, because that's when Wessel popped back in. So things are starting to get dark now. The road is starting to draw long shadows on it, and it seems like it's about to become evening. And you, Rooney, know that you've got about half a day's worth of travel left to do to get to the logging camp.
Could we push onward without gaining exhaustion?
If you decide to push on all the way to the logging camp tonight, you would incur 1 point of exhaustion at the very least before you arrived.
Well, I suppose it's not as dire of a situation as the ranch was. We could rest, right?
I think
Well,
Barthen
wasn't-
was expecting us
Yeah,
to
I was going to
rest.
say that. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought Barthen said it was like a 2-day.
I thought he did.
Right. Well, I guess we're going then. Haha.
What?
What?
You mean we're resting then?
Yes, that's probably what I meant.
Look, I know you're having nightmares about naked ladies' sives, but really, the rest of us need some sleep. I'll make the warm milk myself.
Okay.
Alright. Okie dokie. So, you guys continuing on, or are we making camp?
I thought we
Make it.
were resting, but I don't know.
That's
Make
what Ruby suggested, but Sives seemed to want to continue on, so it's up to the rest of you guys to come to a consensus.
Yeah, no, size changes their mind. Resting is fine. Resting sounds fine.
What's everybody
Groovy
else?
went on without us.
Say what?
Groovy went on without us.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It does that sometimes. It was only in there for like 3 hours, so it yeah. But anywho,
Rooney will suggest chilling out, hanging out, taking a good rusty rest.
alrighty. So so you guys go ahead and you still walk around along a little bit until you come to a part where it would be okay to pull off the road and start setting up camp for the evening. By this time, of course, Manticore Baby is probably hungry again and has woken up a couple times.
Poor baby.
Go ahead
Hey,
and
we got
roll
to feed the baby.
Yeah.
If you'd like, I can help.
Yeah, it looks like we might need it.
Yeah, you guys are wrestling with a baby manticore who's been cooped up all day in a cloak that you tried to make into sort of a baby sling, but it's a baby cat and it wants to get out and it's not so happy about it. It's hungry, but at the same time it's also restless and it mauls a couple of hands before Rooney picks it up and keeps it from stabbing its stinger into freaking Nyx's eye. And just like, there, hush, hush, flips it on its back and shoves the water skin full of goat milk and rabbit broth in its mouth. And it's like, okay.
Rooney will offer to take first watch. And are we on the road?
You're a little bit off of the road itself. You're in like a clearing to the side of the road. You continued on until there was like a big enough patch of grass that you could like pull the cart off to the side and have the ox there grazing a little bit, and you guys set up your bedrolls and whatnot. Maybe even make a little fire if you want to.
Copy. About how big would you say is the area we're in?
I'd say you're looking at a good like 30-foot clearing there.
Okay.
There's even evidence, it looks like, of maybe people in the past like stopping off here to camp and whatnot. A little bit of a ring of stones that were probably a fire pit at one time, but the ash is long cold. Anywho, so yeah, you guys set up for camping, and Rooney offers to take the first watch. Ruby is gonna go ahead and like brush the ox down and make sure he has enough water and whatnot, because he's been walking a lot today, and she's just gonna make sure he's okay. What's everybody else doing to turn down for the evening?
Good question. Sives is probably. I don't. Thinking about ways to replace their arm that it wouldn't be suspicious. Yes.
Look, guys, I have a new arm.
Where did it come from, Master Sives? Don't ask such questions, Donabella.
There's never been one missing. What are we talking about?
You were all having a great mass hallucination. Anywho, alright, so Sives is scheming. Donabella is probably eating rations that she's inexpertly cooked over a fire. Ruby is brushing down the ox and making sure he's well fed and also getting some food herself. I'm assuming that Rudy gives the manticore baby back to Nyx and Nibby after she finishes feeding him. He's still kind of awake, but he'll probably tone down a bit once the food gets to him.
I was planning on playing with him so he can get some of his energy out while on first watch.
That's probably a good idea. You will be making your checks with disadvantage, though, because you've got to draw attention between a baby manticore and everything around you.
That's fair. It's not usually the best one for me anyway.
If Wessel's helping you, though, he can also.
Yeah, Wessel had plenty of rest in his 24-hour Stardust experience. So.
He sure did.
Yeah, he didn't go visit anyone else in their dreams or anything.
No, not at all. You have to swim against the current of wild magic and fire and lightning. Anyway, what's Nyx and Nibby doing?
Nibby's knocked out. And Lil's like trying, like, is the falcon still here?
Yeah, it's probably
Okay.
Probably rooted up in a tree somewhere.
Okay.
Every once in a while, it lets out a call. Nibby just shakes in terror. Lil just shakes in terror.
Lil's just kind of like, I'm awake. I'm ninja. I'm falling asleep. I'm ninja. I'm falling ninja. And just kind of back and forth, trying to stay awake there.
And ultimately,
Nyx is kind of still on edge a little bit, so she's probably going to stay up a little while, just kind of looking around, and just because she probably is still on edge, and also kind of afraid to dream at the moment.
Understandable.
All right. So eventually, Ruby and Zanabella lay down in their bedrolls to get some sleep. Sives, I assume you meditate?
Uh-huh.
All right. Nibby is knocked out already. Rooney and Wessel are on first watch, but Nix, you're also awake?
Yes.
Okay, so you can also roll perception if you want to, Nix, if you're just being awake.
Not seeing much.
Nope.
I'm pulling up perceptions.
Who'd have thunk?
All right. Well, it's a good thing Wessel gets to roll too, because since you're rolling with disadvantage while playing with the baby, you got a 6 technically.
Yay!
But it's
So-
disadvantage with the baby, but advantage because she's in her home territory. Who knows what that means?
Then they
That's
can't say jump
true.
around.
That's true. So technically, it does even out. So that means we go with the first roll. Okay. So
Yay!
Rooney, you and Wessel spend a few kind of harrowing hours where every little rustle and breaking of twig and shifting of leaves kind of feels like a boar coming to get you, and you keep whipping your head around here, there, everywhere. Wessel's doing the same thing. He's just. And Nix, you're watching this. You're watching a extremely on edge Rooney, just like paranoidly looking around the whole goddamn glade. And it's just like it's not a very restful experience for anybody who's awake right now, except for maybe the Manticore, because he thinks it's a game, and he's just like, "Oh, what's over there? Oh, what's over there? Oh, what's over there? This is the greatest game of peekaboo ever!" But eventually it's 4 hours, and it's time for the next person to go on watch. Who do you wake up to take the next watch?
Ives did take their rest, right?
Ives did get 4 hours of meditation.
And that's all I need. Uh-huh.
Typically, Sives is like, "Yep, just go ahead, go do your thing." So probably, from past experience, we'll probably just go. Sives probably won't mind, and goes to disturbs Sives.
Now the question is Sives actually dreaming again?
No. Sives
Okay.
is meditating and staring at a tree. Rudy walks up and puts her hand on his shoulder, shakes him kind of into awareness.
And then Size just slowly turns her head around, hasn't blinked in a few hours, and there you are, Rooney. It's my turn.
Yes, please.
Good. You'll go get some not dreaming rest.
Yes. My plan is to never dream again.
Good. The brain doesn't need that much repair anyway. It's fine.
1, 2, Talos is coming for you. 3, 4, better bolt your door. 5, 6,
won't
grab your
matter.
Wessel boy. 7, 8, better stay up late. 9, 10, dream of thunder again.
So what's the Manticore doing that determines whether
About
or
2
not
hours in, the Manticore fell asleep because it is still just a couple-week-old baby Manticore, and while they do grow about the rate of like normal cats do, a couple weeks is still pretty young for a cat, so he's sleeping. He wants sleep.
copy? I'm probably going to keep him with me and Wessel then, since Nyx and Nibby are, well, Nyx is awake, but I imagine like kind of resting, right?
Yeah, she's probably gonna fall asleep shortly. I mean, she can also take the Manticore and like hold him with her tail and
Well,
make sure he doesn't run away.
I guess my question is Rooney aware that Nyx is awake, or is Nyx just kind of like laying there, like trying to fall asleep?
She was just kind of sitting there watching.
Oh, okay. Then Rooney will ask if Nyx would like the Manticore baby back, or if she would like me to keep it for the evening.
I can take him. It's fine. Or her. Did we
Them?
figure out if it's a boy or a girl yet?
Is a boy. You figured out it was a boy.
Okay, I didn't know if anybody actually like checked.
Yes,
Okay.
I've checked if I remember correctly.
Okay, so she kind of wraps the manticore in the cloak and kind of puts her tail around him like you can't go anywhere now. I have you trapped. Ha ha ha. And
It's a cat burrito.
mm-hmm.
Burrito. It's
A burrito.
All right, so you have a tiny little manticore burrito that you have curled up and you have all snugglyfied. And are you gonna try to sleep now, or are you still staying awake?
I probably would be fighting it, but probably still would fall asleep. But
Okay.
probably not extremely restful.
Okay. All right, just to let you know, if you don't get a full night of sleep, you're gonna get a point of exhaustion.
Fine, I'll sleep. I'll fall asleep.
Okie dokie. You fall.
Unhappily.
All right, you fall asleep unhappily and toss restlessly, but get just enough sleep. All right, Silas, roll me some perception.
Perception is around here somewhere. There it is.
Good,
Oh,
good.
goody.
I
Is it
just.
familiar?
Oh yeah, that's
It's
right.
It's nighttime. The hawk can't see stuff at night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It does not have dark vision.
It's just sitting
So
there
we have to
staring.
know how good it is at watching Lil if it has to get like super close to like watch him.
Yeah, it's probably perched on the edge of the cart, staring down at Lil.
How
I must
close?
keep watching.
How much is
Always
it paying
watching
attention to Lil?
Wazowski.
It's paying a lot of attention to Lil.
Always watching.
Always watching somebody else. Okay. Anyway.
All right,
So-
so you have a pretty eventful watch. You hear the same noises that Rooney was hearing, but recognize them for the regular, nature noises that you've heard a million times before when you and Donabella have to camp out in the middle of the woods somewhere. So you're not too fussed by it. And you're pretty good. The fire's dying low. It's about somewhere in the area of 2-3 a.m. about this time when you hear another rustle and you look up and there's a kobold in the tree above your head. And it's looking down at you.
Sives gives a wave. Hello.
It waves back. It's a little bit smaller than the kobolds that you've met before. Looks actually kind of young. It's not got blue scales though, like the other ones had that you encountered before. It's got gray ones.
Oh. Sives is gonna tilt their head a little bit and then, that's new. And then speak very softly and ask him, having a good night, are we?
Are you saying it in common or draconic?
Draconic, of course.
Okay. It responds slightly. Good night. Yes, yes. Very good, very good. And lots of good things to eat.
Well, that's good. Just be careful of any angry boars.
Oh,
hear
yes,
the
yes. Boars, very bad, very bad. So many, so many. Not good for eating. Can't catch.
No, very fast, very angry.
Much thunder. You do not hear this, Rudy. You're asleep and you don't speak Draconic.
I'm muting.
That just like stares for a minute and then terrifying. Well, my name is Sives. Who are you?
Don't have a name. Don't have a name. He kind of scratches his neck scales, kind of looking confused for a minute. Think name. What name? What name?
Well,
Dagger Scale. I am Dagger Scale. And he looks very satisfied with himself.
Size nods. Fine name indeed. Very spooky. Very bold.
Puffs his chest up proudly.
Are you here with any friends, or are you just exploring the forest at night?
Oh, no friends. Friends gone.
Friends gone? What
Friends-
happened?
Friends went to bad place. And he points somewhere off into the forest, what looks like a little bit north and westish. Friends went to bad place. Did not come back. Alone now.
Huh. Well, I can't speak for the rest of my party until they're awake, but if you would like to share our campfire, you're welcome for the meantime. I mean, if you want, it's warm.
He kind of tilts his head as if considering the proposal.
You don't have to, of course.
Are nice. Do like you, but not trust you. Is okay?
Yes, that's quite fine. We've only just met after all.
Good. Nice talk, though. If live, we'll talk later. And he is going to scamper up into the trees and away before you respond.
Yes, if live.
And it
Yes, child.
is at that moment that you notice there's a sort of chittering, clacking noise that you hear, and it's coming from the far side of the camp.
Hate that.
Yeah. And as you turn your head, you catch sight of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 glowing kind of ovalish orbs pop into existence, sort of clustered all together from a tree about 20 feet away from your friends. Rather large, kind of about the size of dinner saucers, as something begins to lower itself from the tree on long, spindly legs. And as the rather large, hairy purple arachnid clips its way into the view of the firelight, we're going to stop there for the evening and pick up on Friday.
Awesome. That's my favorite.
Can't wait.
All right. So
That's fun.
thank you guys for tonight. I know it was a lot more talking than I normally do. I'm sorry, but I promise next time we'll open up with glorious combat.
No.
So good.
Yay!
Yay!
I just went to sleep.
Did you? Yeah, I know. Well, no, actually, you got about 6 hours in of sleep before this.
Okay.
Because this happened at like 3 in the morning. The first shift was like from 7 to 11. So
Yeah.
you're good there. And then Sives took the rest of the shifts for the evening because he's a dirty elf boy and he doesn't need sleep.
Nope.
Sleep is for the weak. Nobody fucking needs sleep.
I love it.
All right, but yeah, thank you for anybody who was watching tonight. I know Kalis was with us for a while there. Thank you for tuning in. If anybody else was watching, I totally appreciate it. If you want a recap, if you didn't get to watch the whole episode, I will be uploading it to YouTube by tomorrow evening because my upload rate is really slow. Or you can watch it here on my Twitch channel for a bit, and just, check her on out. I appreciate any and all views, whether you're just kind of on mute chilling in the stream or whatever. And normally we do this on Fridays. We just had a little bit of a rainy day kind of session today. So we will see you all this coming Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Goodbye and thank you from the Dragons, also maybe Dungeons crew.
Woo!
Woo.
Bye bye.